Right, guys, what's happening? Last chance to get involved with the giveaway.
You need to do it, Trips.
You need to do it. Simple task you've got at hand. It costs you zero pence and £0. So you've also got to follow the link in the description though. So when you follow that, it's going to take you to all our sponsors' Instagrams and our YouTube. All you need to do is subscribe to our YouTube and follow all our sponsors on Instagram. You don't need to follow us.
No.
We saves you one.
You should be already though. It's good content.
Yep. And as always, guys, we're in the G4 studio. Hope you enjoy this episode. Cheers.
Cheers.
These bandanas make it hurt.
Is your phone in airplane mode?
Nope.
Or well, doesn't it need to be there?
Yeah, it does. It really does.
Silence good enough, mate.
Popular man.
But Jamie somehow turns itself off silent and then rings and all that.
Mate, I think it's because it's pure dirty.
Is your
There's like a
pocket got-
fine margin.
Is your pocket got horns in it?
Look. Whoa, look, it does shit itself.
That is wild. I just witnessed that.
He did prove it. Maybe it's cursed.
It's like, that moves so easily.
Haunted phone, man.
Anyway, welcome back.
Yeah, right, okay.
Paul Doc sent me a voice note once. It was just like, how about, he's like, he always starts like this. Alright, what if we did a sketch about a haunted PlayStation?
Well, when you touch it,
I was like, what about, he's like, aye, and it's like, I can't play my PlayStation because it's haunted.
It's funny you're saying that. I was watching you watched Nathan For You?
Oh, mate.
Right, aye. You see the one he's like got it's like the ghost realtor, and he's like, oh mate, he's like, so the idea behind it is
The ghost what?
So it's like an estate agent, right? And she's like, our business is pretty bad and that, no getting many, like, no getting a lot of customers in. And what happens is, he's like, well, a lot of people don't buy houses because they think they're haunted, so if we could like guarantee them that it's not haunted, then you'll get a lot of business in. And obviously, but it's real, isn't it? It's 100%. Aye.
But I just thought, man, fucking property boss, ghost fucking estate agent. Get my sidekick.
There you go, by the way, that's a series.
G4 claims, do you want to give me some money? Like, I'll make it happen.
You gotta claim money for them.
G4 claims you can claim anything, guys.
If they're going to sponsor anything, man, fucking property boss / sidekick.
Aye.
Ratings gold.
That is.
The followers would double, I think.
Got my
Views through the roof.
TV brain on, man.
But yeah, guys, boom, we're back in the studio.
I've been drinking juice.
That was such a perfect burp. Like, if I was to go at a sound library of burps,
Aye, that is like a cartoon burp, wasn't it? Like a button you press.
It was a soundboard, that's what it was.
But we're back, guys, we're back. And we've got the beautiful Conor Reilly in.
Little princess face.
Little
guys.
what face?
Princess face.
Is that what you call him?
Aye.
You used to call me that?
Jamie says the nicest things to me all the time. It's really nice, honestly.
You deserve the nicest things.
My confidence is always boosted from being around you.
He's a man of many compliments. Well,
mainly just for
I don't really get it. I was going to say that, as I was saying that, I was thinking, I was like, does really
I
happen?
said one of your videos was heavy funny earlier on.
That's good.
That is good.
Why don't you just text me all the time, just, I love you, stuff like that.
A day?
Yeah, it's nice, man. I love it.
Good.
Yeah, I love it a lot.
You deserve it all.
How are you guys?
Do you want to do the podcast?
Yeah, I'm the interviewer, man.
You're like dying to ask us stuff, aren't you?
Yeah.
Why don't you ask us some stuff and then we can flip it? Ask us
Right,
one.
I'll ask you one question.
We'll go.
Aye, you
What's
get one
your,
question each.
We'll go question for question, mate.
Right,
See who
my
falls
question
first.
for you, Evan, right, is honestly, where did the podcast come from? What was the impetus? There you go, BBC word.
Very big BBC word.
I just wanted to get the fucking word out there, mate. That was it.
Well, like you did
There
funny
really
videos,
was.
so how did you end up like, oh fuck, I'm gonna do a...
I think things landed in the right place at the right time in a way, but also it was a blessing in disguise because I really was getting fed up of recording myself in my room, mate, to be honest.
Universe, baby.
I feel like I've done. I felt like completed it, mate, but I didn't know where it, like, I'd done, some of them got good views, some of them people find them funny, but it just reached a point I was like, where does this go next?
Then you get offered the...
Am I just like 40 still doing this?
Just sit in your room. It's like
You're 40, man, you look good. Yeah.
It's my birthday tomorrow, actually.
Oh, so
No, my 40th.
25,
Yeah, I meant
yeah.
actually.
25?
Mate, listen to the last podcast. That's the other thing. I'm a fan of this podcast. So
Aye.
this is like...
You starstruck?
Is it a dream come true?
man?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like when somebody's dying and they let them play for Celtic or something for a bit. Like, I'm standing on the fucking
On a
field
ha-
like that.
They're not knowing what to do, asking them questions.
I'm probably...
The exact same should be in a pitch for like doing the rank things.
Yeah, totally.
Scoring on goals and that.
But obviously, you asked me about the podcast and how I ended up in this, and I said it's because I got fed up, kind of recording myself. But
Aye.
as I've met you, Connor, I've actually had the ability to no record myself.
Yeah.
I've had the ability to be recorded where I can just roam free and be a free creative spirit.
Like a unicorn.
So obviously we just I as you know, guys, well as you probably don't know, Connor filmed the high rise video which we put out, which is flying by the
Actually flying. Like, for a new channel, just to go straight to like 10,000 views is pretty mad.
I know it is. It's really good, man.
I've been trying to put videos out for ages, so that it was pretty good, yeah.
That's like a new thing, that picking mix. That's like
Yeah, so it's like a new... We'd been planning on doing it for ages, but I make loads of stuff. Obviously, you guys make loads of stuff. The idea was just to have somewhere to put it, like put everything,
Like
basically, so
centralise
that
it.
it all goes to the same place, because it's a fucking nightmare. And having to put stuff out through the BBC and all this stuff, it's just a faff that I'm a bit sick of, so it'd be nice to have a wee
There are a lot of
place.
like no hurdles, but is it
Man, it's mad.
red tape.
It's like...
even what I done, like, I mean, I made one video for the social, and I'm not like knocking that, whatever, but it was like
Yeah.
COVID risk assessment forms and that. I'm like, I'm in my room, mate.
It depends, man, because I used to make a lot of like online comedy, so like I made soup for them, right? And I sent them...
What kind of shit?
How did you know it was soup?
Didn't even fucking
must have
think,
been a lot
I
of
guess
soup,
I was
mate.
doing that. So I was like, but I made that sketch and I went in and I'd been shooting stuff for them for ages, right? So I had like a bit of a track record, and I was like, can I make this sketch? And they were like, nah, it's no funny, because they don't do anything that's not
Mate,
like...
it's so funny, man.
You need to be like fucking... It has to have like a mad Scottish thing, right?
I am brew or something.
So I was like, what about soup? And they were like, nah, it's not funny. I ended up
Campbell's soup.
having to perform the whole fucking sketch for them in the cafe of the BBC, and they laughed a wee bit, and then they were like, right, we'll give you the money to make it, but we're not going to put it out.
Much
and I was
you
like,
get.
like nothing, man.
Oh.
So what fucking work you put into it, and then like they were like, nah, we're not going to put it out, and eventually they seen it and they were like, actually, it's all right. But
see the soup video, see the idea behind that. Like, see, when I was watching it, I watched it the all night, and mate, I had never seen it before, but.
Right.
I was like howling at it. It's like, because the more it goes on and like people are coming up and they're like, oh, shut up, like it's no this because it's no soup because it's this, and like every time there's a reason why it's still confusing, if you know what I mean.
Mate, there's
Like, explain if people who haven't seen it, try and explain like the plot of
Tell
it.
them where to find
It's
that
a
and all.
sketch about a guy trying to find the definition of soup, right? So he's like, what is soup? And then the thing is, that's funny about it is, if you say that to anyone, they go, I know what soup is, and you're like, how? No one can actually define soup. So he's like, it needs to be hot, and you're like, nah, gazpacho isn't hot. You're like,
Right.
well, it needs to be in a bowl, and you're like, nah,
Shreddies.
shreddies should be soup, but they're not.
Mate,
Ketchup should be soup, but it's not.
That's
Why?
the best bit of it. Hanging it. Tommy, it's Tommy
Yeah.
that's acting in
Yeah,
it.
it's Tommy, my brother,
It's
yeah.
his brother. And I thought he was pure good in it. There's a mad bit where he's like, his bud comes in and goes, it's because it's the bowl that makes it soup. And he goes, Shreddy's soup now, eh? Get out. Oh, fuck off or something. And he's got a big bowl,
man.
and she's got like a suitcase, and she's like, what?
He's got like a board, and it's like a mad detective's board
Yeah,
that's
like,
like crossing things and like
I love
lines.
that. I like movies, and I like taking things like conventions from
Sylvia.
movies and then using them for something stupid. Like even the first shot in it's like a long zoom on his face, and it's like really dramatic. I just think that's
Aye.
so funny.
Aye.
That's the thing with the high rise video as well. Like
Yeah.
the way it's the music and stuff. Like obviously it's not fucking real, but like
Yeah.
when you're watching it, you're getting like no caught up because obviously I'm fucking in it. But like the way it's shot as if it's serious. You know what I mean?
That's
They're
the-
the
if I'm
that's the
making-
funniest stuff. I
If
think.
I'm making a mockumentary, man, I want it to look like it's a documentary. Like I don't like half-assing anything to the point where it sometimes gets in the way because it doesn't fucking matter. But I'm like, I want this exact thing to make it feel like you're watching that,
Aye.
whatever the thing is you're
How
trying.
did the high rise video like? Obviously we went on the first one. How did the very
Yeah.
first one come about?
I can't remember. I'd never met the Yorks before, and Paul, me and him had made a couple sketches.
So I just laugh like when you say the yurts. It's just
The yurts, man.
Meeting the yurts is like a fucking life-changing experience.
Aye. So
monumental,
it was that was the day I met them. It was the day we shot that. So Paul was like, "Can we do a sketch that's like this?" And I was like, "Aye, that's funny." But I'd never met them before. I didn't know how it was going to go. So we just shot it like a documentary. Like I just showed up with my camera and just started filming.
Kind of similar to what you did the second time as well.
Exactly. But then they were like, they'd do it and we'd run it through a few times and then we'd go, "That was funny." And then we'd just do that and then we'd like do the next scene or whatever. And then I'd be like, "Right, we need an ending here, or we need a shot of this to make that cut from there to there." Which is a fucking nightmare to edit because there's no script, like you don't know where anything's going to be. But I just kind of like let them go, and the more I let them go, like the funnier they were. And then the final line in it is like when they go to that flat and it's been knocked down, and he's like, "Look, they're building another Monroe." That was like, that wasn't that script. They just got there and there was a hill, and then Paul was like, "That's a Monroe." So funny.
It's not even. It's like a pile of stones off a building. He's like, "Look, you can see them
starting
starting."
the start of it.
Them Monroe, mate.
I know, but he said it's a hill, wasn't it?
That made me
was
laugh so much, man. That I phoned my brother Tommy after it. I was like, "Oh, I did this sketch with these guys," and then said that joke and was like, "It's going to be a hit." Just because of that, like,
Mate, it's so good, man. Like so good, and I think is that why? Because it's shot as if it's a real thing. I think they're always the funniest things, like Trailer Park Boys and like fucking
The Office and shit.
Like they're the funniest
Office does
things.
it so well, man.
You get lost in it more when it's shot as if it's real, rather than pure. Oh, this guy walks in and he falls, and then there's a laugh track and shit. It's just the least
But
funny thing
it's
ever.
also just nice, like Paul and you're so fucking funny. You guys are so funny. It's nice to just like do a level up, because we know that Paul and you and everyone can do really funny videos on Twitter. So it's just nice to see what happens when you
Actually,
I get it properly, and
Yeah.
like I think that's why I was getting bold of making the videos I was doing, to be honest, because there's a limit in what you can do, especially when you're recording yourself. But
There's a ceiling,
aye, but see when like you go out and do something like that, like I had done the fly thing, which was like. That was like different because it was like a script, and it was a production crew rather than just like our pal, basically, you know what I mean? Just like, I fuck it, I'll do it, and you know what I mean? It was like, right, actually, like it was a bit more like serious, but that was so fun. I thought like doing that, I would definitely
it's
never
fun
do
for you
more.
not to have to worry about shooting it, because if
Aye.
you're just being like funny and just this guy will shoot it and make it all work, then you're like,
I mean, it's so
fine.
like, I think that's why it felt so free and like
free,
enjoyable.
aye.
Plus, as well, like it's so good having like Sean and Ben, right? They've got like, see their brains for like, that's why you've probably shot 10 different things for the first one, because like they'll think of something in like 5 seconds, mate,
Aye,
and then
fast,
15 seconds later it'll be like, no, do this, no, this. Like their brains go well fast with it, so it's good being out and having everybody being like, nah, like that bit's good, but like, nah, we should do this, and like it ends up a better thing overall with everybody's input, I think.
Aye.
totally, man. I think the next one, man, I'd love to script it, but like actually put everyone in a room and then we'll write it and then
writer's
go,
room.
you know.
Aye, we should try and do something like that.
There's a bit more that I can do as well in planning the shoot and like how we're going to do it.
Aye, you can think about what. Aye, I suppose that's right in it, rather than rock
That's
up
just
the
the next
camera.
progression, but it's so good though, man. I fucking love doing it.
I
so
quite
much.
liked seeing you, and I said this to Paul as well when he was on. I quite like seeing you too, like pure editing on site, but it was good, man.
Yeah,
Because remember there was a bit that you were sitting down and that, because you were pure rough, weren't you?
I was rough as fuck.
What is it you? No, because we took like a break, right? And what is it you ended up with at the shop? Like,
I goes, what do you want at the shops? And he goes, flaming Monster Munch and a bottle of chocolate milk or something. Is that mad weird?
that is a mental munch.
But there was a bit, right, where I was really hungover and I was like leaning over the bench like,
Aye,
I'm gonna be sick, but I was also doing the like thinking about the shot and I heard Reese go,
It was me.
was it you? I was
Aye.
just going,
I said,
oh
he's
man,
there.
look at him like thinking about the shots, man, he's a genius,
I
like,
said
and I was
that.
like
I said
actually
something
just
like
holding back my sick, like
I was imagining you like a mad composer in your brain like that, just like, that's got to go there, that's got to go there. And all
I'm
that.
trying not to wait.
so
You
funny,
know?
man. But aye, that was Paul Doc's fault that I was rough as fuck.
He's out.
I was out, and Chris McQueen was there. I'd never met Chris before, and I actually fell over. I don't do that a lot, man. I'm usually pretty good on my feet, but I was very embarrassed.
What, you were that drunk?
There was just a step that I didn't see. I was betrayed. I was like Alan Shields trying to walk down the stairs to the.
And then
See what I was like? It was just really funny. Sorry, it's just so funny, the idea of this big guy falling over once, getting up, falling over again, getting up
my third time.
3 times down the stairs of the Hamilton Palace, man. That is so funny.
How do you make a comeback for that?
Like,
I don't know.
if someone said, Conor, time machine, could you go back to anywhere? It was going to be the JFK assassination, but now it's that guy falling down the stairs 3 times.
Oh. In the Hamilton Palace.
I can't imagine anything funnier.
At any time, go anywhere.
Do you know
Hamilton
what's even better? Like the image of him like getting up, just falling again, and then getting up, and again, and getting up, and again, like a cartoon.
It's
Getting up,
like,
pure gun like that.
I can't believe it's real, because even if he'd done twice, right, I'd go, right, I'm taking these shoes off. This is not, nah.
I need to change something after my second fall.
This is not working out for me. I need to change my strategy.
Like the mad Einstein definition of madness, doing something over and over again and expecting a better
Exactly
result.
that. So funny.
What are we talking about there?
Why are you shaking your
You
head?
always say this, but it's for Far Cry 3 or something. It's not even.
What did you say?
It might be. I
That-
thought
no,
it was
that is-
Einstein.
That's what that quote's for.
What?
You've said it before.
I'm sure it's.
No, it's not
No,
for Far
Einstein,
Cry.
no, Einstein, quote.
It's
Einstein
fucking-
was like a mad mathematician.
No,
Right,
no,
you used
it's-
to- it's because you're trying the
it's-
same problem over and over again.
He's the
and you're
definition
getting
It's not from Far Cry.
I swear.
No, it will have been
I-
quoted
I-
again by Far Cry.
I can't.
definitely didn't invent that scene.
I'm pretty sure it's an Einstein quote.
Wait,
Wait, you
yeah,
two
it could
talk.
be, it could be.
Oh,
just-
I love that he's going to put this up on the screen, man.
Is it an Einstein?
Definition of
He's one in one with the Google and making a character for.
I've got this.
It's Far Cry.
Insanity.
The people who made that game didn't come up with it.
insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Dash Far Cry. Albert Einstein.
Yes.
Mate, there's no way the people who done the Far Cry game came up with something that like philosophical almost.
A stupid you saying it. I mean, I always thought it was a stupid you saying.
I know, he is stupid, that cunt, innit? Daft hair and all that. The big
Daft,
tongue, it.
Daft Einstein, man. Absolutely.
Daft Einstein.
You know, people
That's what his
always
pals call
say that he failed maths, but he didn't. People are always like, oh, Einstein failed maths, but he didn't. That's just people who failed maths.
Aye.
I used to say that because I failed maths, but
It's the same as the Bill Gates dropped out of school and all that, and it's like, right.
It's just to make
Bill Gates-
people feel better about
yeah,
their
Bill
lives.
Gates
To
was
be honest,
actually just really smart. He was always smart.
he was destined for this shit. You are not.
It wasn't the drop him out of school that made him a genius. It was being born a genius.
I was thinking, what's like a prime location? In fact, we can't get that away, could we?
What for?
What's the prime location for the next high rise? What's the next set of
There's
high?
so many good high rises in Glasgow. It would have been so good to do like the Red Roads before they went down or something like
Go
that.
up
You
a
know?
student accommodation and start getting a rivalry with mad students.
Aye.
It's
That
good.
was
There's so
one
many
in
ways you
Barton
could go
that's
with
really
it.
big.
You were going to come to Springburn. You were going to come to Balgray Hill. And
Here, see before that, Erin was like that. Mind I put it in that chat. Like she was
they
like,
all shat ourselves.
She was no, she was like,
They all
where?
shat
She was like, where are you filming the high rise thing? And I was like, then I read that it was like Balgray Hill or something. She was like, she was like, really? And I was like, aye. And she was like, somebody's gonna do something to use
It's
down
not
there.
that bad.
Sean voice noted me as well. He's like, mate, I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure about this Balgray Hill. No. I think, mate,
I don't know,
everybody was against it. That's where I'm fake.
I thought the Gorbals one was probably rougher than Balgray.
Nah.
I don't really know that.
It won't be. But you'd be alright if I was there, know what I mean? Know what I mean?
Because I was shooting Springburn Park the other day. And that's
Springburn
like
Park
fucking-
is fucking beautiful.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Mate, I stand by Springburn Park so much.
Mate,
See
it's,
that,
it's nothing on Cambuslang
What's the
Public
name of the
Park.
thing in the middle?
Springburn Park, I've been in both, mate. You've been in Cambuslang Public Park. Shout out to Canby boys out there. Public Park represent one of the most underrated parks in the
What's the
city.
name of the thing?
You've
the thing in the
actually said
middle?
that to me before.
I'm passionate.
the
I'm
middle.
riled up now.
What?
climb up
The
the thing.
greenhouse? We burnt that
Greenhouse,
down when we were wee.
Aye.
It's
Oh,
been,
no,
it's
no,
been
it's
burnt down like hundreds of
That
times.
beautiful park, we burnt it down. Aye, fucking hell.
It's nice though.
We
Man.
bumped
You can
into
climb
it,
up
it was
onto that
still there.
platform. You can climb up on the thing. and-
My pal
aye.
fell off at Splitsy Dope, Stephen.
Actually,
What are we even talking about with the flats now? Oh, next location, man. Next location. I don't know. There's so many to
No,
pick
man.
from.
Also, we need to think of a new angle because we've climbed the flats before. We need to now make it. I don't know.
See, just sort of things like that. I suppose, as you put it, it's like a mockumentary. Is that like your favourite sort of thing to film? Do you think?
No, my favourite is like an actual documentary
Aye.
that's just weird as fuck.
Like the sidekick one?
I like to be like in a situation and be like, where the fuck am I? Like, how did my life get me to the point where I'm in this room and this is fucking weird? Like, yeah, I like that.
You filmed like all the weird things in Scotland now.
I'm running
That's your
out.
kind of thing, innit? You're like the Louis Theroux of Scotland.
The weird guy. Yeah.
The weird
The
guy.
problem is though, like, the only way to get money to make shit in Scotland is the BBC. And quite often I'll pitch stuff and they're like, nah, it's too...
Give me some ideas of stuff you've pitched that they've said no.
Loads of shit, man. I wanted to do a thing on a nudist beach where I would be naked. And they were like, no.
Nice.
There was a thing, you know, the wolf pack hunters?
Aye.
There was a few times I tried to get stuck, like follow the wolf pack hunters and stuff like that. And I phoned a woman from them and she was like kind of interested or whatever. But she said they were already doing some stuff. But
You were going to hunt. You were going to hunt the wolf pack hunters.
hunt with the wolf pack
I thought
hunters.
you were going to like turn the tables, kind of thing. Like
Well,
the hunters become the huntee.
maybe turn the tables in the sense that I mean, this is a bigger conversation, right? But like, I feel like when I watch it, it's really fucked up.
Yeah, I don't. It's not right, and
It's
it's
don't
really
like it at all.
like, it makes me feel really uncomfortable. But at the same time, obviously being a is bad.
I think
Being a was bad.
we need a
One
more like
takeaway.
civilized way of going about
That's what I
cats.
mean.
Instead of these mad neds, you're fucking daft, you know. Like
Yeah.
you're like right, or,
Just-
like
Generally, like, I think that the world right now is quite, I don't know, like revenge, kind of like vigilante justice, especially with like cancelling and stuff. And that also makes me feel a wee bit uncomfortable. Even if someone's done something like wrong, I always look at that and I'm like, this is a wee bit.
It's weird, like normal people taking into their own hands, like
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
like. But obviously they're doing a good thing.
Aye, that's
but,
the thing. Like, you don't want to talk against it as if you like don't want these people to get
Aye,
caught.
like-
but it's just like the way.
Yeah.
But it's like they're not doing it because they're not getting caught.
But I suppose that is the reason. Aye, maybe we just need to put them through training, some
But-
sort of training.
Train the wolf pack
Wolfpack
hunters.
trainers.
I like know how those people like when I was in uni, there's a few people that come in. They're like, oh, I know all this. I just need the bit of paper. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
People
yeah,
say
yeah.
things like that. I can do all this shit. I just need the bit of paper to take
I've
back to my work that I've been in 20 years. Like that kind of thing. Like, we could offer that service to the Wolfpack hunters
Aye, like you know what you're doing.
and like treat.
I've already hunted 20 man. I'm basically a police officer at this point.
So I've got 20 bodies at this point.
They could have teardrops for every
pedo.
10. Every 10. If you had you'd have a face full of teardrops. Some of them are
Aye.
legends in the game.
No, but I seen one the other day that was like they were making a short pair. That's really no. What do you call really small people? What's a PC term for
A little person.
like, wee people?
Couldn't you just say little?
It was making one of
You
them.
translate that into Scottish.
Aye, well, for the trips, know what I mean? For the boys who scheme that. No, they were making him kick his own head. You know, like,
Oh, aye, I seen
and they're
that.
like, alright, if you do that, we'll let you go. And he's like,
See,
kick his own head.
that is like beyond the point of what the whole purpose of this is. Like,
Wait, sorry, I'd missed that.
it's a little person that they've caught. They think is a beast, right? So they're on live or whatever, and they're like, right, kick yourself in the head, because obviously that's a mad thing people make. And I don't even get the amusement in that.
Well,
But
he goes like that. Right, I'm not being funny or anything, mate. Like, can you kick your own head? And he's trying to be his pal, and he's gone, mate, I'll let you go if you do it once more. Please do it for us, bro. Not. And then he does it, and he goes, right, 5 more times, and he does it 5 times. He's like, another twice, not does it again,
That's
and he just
fucking-
goes, you're not going anywhere. You're fucking.
See, that's like, that's the exact line, man. That's the fucking line. So that's not justice. That's just a guy getting fucking abused. Like, that's fuck.
Deservedly, kind of.
Well, but here's the thing, like,
but it's no their position to
Aye.
like enforce
yeah,
that.
so you
like,
gather the information, just give it to the police
Aye,
and go,
if
look,
that's your sole purpose,
Aye.
if that's your sole purpose to like stop them, then catch them, keep them there, and fucking till the police come. You've done your job, brilliant. But that's obviously after they'll learn that at the training course.
it's also
Aye,
it's
that
just
you
not
put them
good.
through.
I don't think it's right for you to like enjoy punishing people. You know what I mean? We should do it because it's the right thing to do, not
Aye.
because
You
we
get
get
a
some
boss.
sort of buzz out of like
or doing it for
taking them
clout
down.
and all, like,
Yeah.
kind of. Do you know what I mean? Like videoing it and trying to be funny and doing stuff like that.
I'd like
It's
to
weird.
get 'cause
being
then it-
funny about something the most serious thing in the world, like,
Aye.
you know what I mean?
And then I
It's
end up
bizarre.
feeling bad for the people, and I'm like, no, this is like obvious. I think what you're doing is evil, but then I watch the video and I go,
Aye, it's a
this is
twisty
fucked up.
sort of thing,
It's
isn't it?
made me sympathise with the guy who's a fucking.
Is that no? You're a filmmaker. Is that not what really good filmmakers do?
Oh, that's the reason that came up. Is there's one thing I pitched, and I don't even know if I should say this on the thing, because there's a thing. The podcast. There's a thing called virtuous pedos, which are basically like pedos that come out and go, look, I'm a pedo. I don't want to hurt children.
I've seen
Can
this.
somebody help
Oh,
me? And I think
Yeah, what can you do?
it's fucked up because it's actually a very ethical thing to do, to say, look, I really don't want children to be hurt by the evil that's in my brain. And I don't think they would choose to be.
They're not born
No.
going, oh,
You don't choose. You don't born and like pick what you're attracted
So
to.
then
right?
you think you look at
This
that.
is such a weird
It's
talk.
It's a
such
mad
horrible,
conversation, but then
horrible.
morally, what do you do? Because you've got somebody.
We'll edit it. We can just talk about it.
Morally, like you've got somebody doing the right thing who's got something that they didn't choose that's fucked up about themselves.
Aye.
What do you do? Do we
I'm-
help
I'm
them?
with you on
Do
that.
we?
Do you know what I used to say, right? And my sister pure said, like, you're just so naive and you think everything's perfect and all that. Like, she was like, your mad worldview is so bad, because like I was like, obviously you shouldn't kill them. Like, they should be sent places to
Help.
do this and get them better and all that. And I was like, they don't deserve to die and all that. My sister was like, but you're just imagining the world pure perfect, like these guys just going away, getting all fixed and coming back
No,
out.
I
It's
mean,
pure
but
carrying
you
on.
just wouldn't let. Look, I watched like a Louis Theroux documentary, and it was that. It's like a facility in America where,
I've seen the one, yeah.
they can
I've
go.
seen that.
They can go and like, it's like instead of just jailing them, they try and like, it's like rehab almost, and they try and like fucking kick the poo at them.
But you can't. It's like you can't change.
Why was it?
Yeah, reform.
Reform them.
But you can't. You can't reform.
Oh, can you know?
you
Is it
just
not just
can't.
neurological? Like,
But that's what I mean. It's like born the way that you're straight. I can't make you like you change that about yourself.
Try.
I've made him gay by the way.
He does call me handsome a lot.
You're
and
a
I
handsome
love
man,
it,
mate.
I
You're a
love it.
handsome man.
Sorry, you. But anyway, you can't change it. I spoke to a woman a wee while ago who worked in a fucking prison / hospital thing with them for years, and she was like, "You can't. It's just in you."
So is it like, is the most ethical kind of thing today just send them to an island or something
that's-
and just leave them there?
I've thought that too. I don't know, but also you're thinking like, who is it? That, I don't know. There's no answer. Is the thing that's fucked up about it. But I think that's
I
interesting.
think if we sit long enough, we'll come up with a solution.
Aye,
right? Aye, but something else you made, and I actually watched it last night. I don't know if was it your idea to like go and see the people who like deal with dead bodies and all that.
Oh,
Yeah,
aye.
that was my idea. I had this weird, had this year, right, when I was really scared of dying. I don't know what it was, right, but I was just getting really anxious about dying. So I thought, right, fuck it, I want to go see a dead body. And like, I don't know, I was just really, that was the scariest thing to me, to see dead people. So I was like, fuck it, I'll go and see some dead people. So I pitched to BBC Three to make this like
I'll
film.
use my job to get there.
That's how I do everything, man. Like, I just go, I want to do this. How do I make that work out so that I end up doing it?
That's class.
So I've ended up finding this funeral director who was like really sound and was like, yep, you can do it. And I went the day before and I was like chatting to the two girls I was filming with, and I went, look, I've actually never seen like a dead guy. Could you show me one just so I don't fucking freak out tomorrow? Like, because I don't know if my brain can handle it yet.
Aye.
So they were like, aye, one through. So like they would go through, and she fucking opened this cupboard up, and there was a guy at eye level sitting up, which is so fucked up because, you know, even just sitting down you move. Imagine someone doing a half sit up but like totally still, like a fucking like cup, like no movement, inanimate object. And it fucking hit me so hard, man. I felt my body go all tight and like, oh
And
man.
was he already done up? No, how like
No,
in the
he was just
documentary
in.
it shows
No,
like,
he, like.
He's in purgatory, man.
So anyway, so the next day, I was filming yesterday. No, sorry, not yesterday. I was filming the next day, when they take them from like their state they come into the like when they're looking nice, basically. And when you see them when they first take the blanket off them, man, it's pretty wild. Like,
Is there a smell?
no, man, it's like honestly like fucking like mad contorted bodies like that, like skin is
No
like
way.
right in here, their eyes are all up like that, but they're all like the skin goes all tight because all the moisture goes away, so they're like dried a wee bit. It's pretty fucked.
Seen a guy like that in Coat Bridge yesterday. Coat Bridge Main
But,
Street,
like,
man.
the work
Exactly
they do though
like
is
that.
unbelievable, man. Like they suck out. Do you want me to tell you what they do?
Yeah, tell me.
They take a big stick, right, which is like a vacuum with a knife in the end, and they
Nice.
shove it in here, and they suck out all the guts, blood, piss, and shit. Right.
It's like
The smell that comes out of a dead person, like rotten shit and flesh, is like something that is
Do you
burned
get
into
not
my
rotten
soul,
shit?
man. Like because when you die, you're full of piss and shit, basically, right? And your stomach contents
Where do they put
goes
it
into a
on?
fucking jar, and I don't know what they did with the jar afterwards, man. But like
Making
maybe
it a
some
candle.
guy keeps it.
candle.
So then they cut your arteries here, and they put formaldehyde in it,
Formaldehyde,
to preserve the body. So that all goes through all the veins, and then they start to kind of look a bit more human. And
Oh,
then
did you
they, like,
see them becoming more human?
I think it's even weirder. Seeing them done up and dead.
That's the thing when we said we were going to talk about this. That was the main thing I wanted to say. I think it's strange.
It's weird that we
Why
do
let them
it.
be a dead
Well,
body,
I've
man?
never seen a relative. Like all my relatives, just like I don't know, they got cremated or
Closed or
whatever.
something, aye.
And my uncle was like buried, but we never looked at him.
I think
you know?
it's weird.
Aye, I've never done that either.
I don't know. I kind of like because I've never been in that situation really.
But been deed.
I had somebody heavy close to me that's like I would want to see them again. Do you know what I mean? So I couldn't really comment on it, but I don't think I would. I don't think I'd
even
be
when you
cool.
see them done up, it's not like right.
You don't want you want to remember them being alive. You don't want to remember their dead body with their best clothes
Totally
on,
still.
their hair done and
Yeah.
that.
But it's
Aye.
quite the way they do it though. It's quite sweet because they're like doing the hair and like, oh, this is nice, and like doing the nails. And,
Aye, it is. Watching the video, it's on YouTube, innit? Aye, that's
Yeah,
what I
I
watched
think it's
it
on YouTube, yeah.
Aye, it's very weird because it does. And fair play to the women that do it, because I mean, somebody's got to do it.
Aye.
You know what I
And
mean?
they look like people loved it and all.
there was
It was
one,
like-
there was one guy though, man. The last guy they brought out was like he'd been dead for a while. They brought him out, right, and see when you die, gas forms in your stomach and it starts to expand. And so he was like massive, right? And he was blue, right?
Oh my
I swear on my
God.
life. And they go,
The Rangers
we need
fan?
to let the gas, we need to let the gas out, right? And I was like, what's that mean? She stabbed him in the stomach. I thought he was going to explode, right? And I swear to, like, I actually flinched and they were like taking the piss out of me.
Oh my god.
The smell,
It's a
I love that.
the smell that came out of him, man.
Deep
Like,
person pattern.
I was getting flashbacks honestly for like 6 months to the smell. I'd think I'd smelled it and I'd like wake up in nightmares and shit.
Is it
because
like mad? Like
you can't
is it
explain
really
it.
bad farts? No.
No, it's
Gas in
like,
your body, innit?
man, it's like, it's weird. It's almost like evolution wise, there's like a thing in your brain that says like when you smell it to like freak out because like you need to be away from like dead bodies is bad.
Or like an instinct.
Yes.
Aye.
So it's this thing when you smell and it honestly, as soon as
Fucks you up.
it went in my nose, it was like my body was like, no, bad. This is like alarms were like going off. It's
Do
really
you,
weird.
So can I ask, do you now fear death any less?
Oh man, I felt amazing coming out.
Really?
Because I'd looked at the thing that I was most scared of was like dead people. And I came out and I was like, I fucking just did that. And I was freaking out every now and then about the smell, but like, if you go in and look at something that you're objectively terrified of and then handle it and then come out, you just, it made me feel a wee bit invincible for like
Oh, because
a
you're like,
year.
oh, it's not that bad.
Yeah,
Aye.
fuck it.
Get
It
all
was
my
also
best
nice.
clothes
It's like
back on.
they were dead, but like it was just like, oh, I'm just being looked after, and also it was quite nice to see how empty they were, if that makes sense. Like I was like, oh, they're not. That's not a dead person. That's like an empty shell of
Really?
what
So,
might.
so could you like? It sounds daft, right? The only dead thing I've ever seen is my old dog.
Oh.
R.I.P.
But did it look anything like your dog? No.
It was just like I don't like you. You can see the life is gone for it.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Because you've never seen anything that still before,
Mate,
so it just isn't scary. It's just an empty.
I knocked a pigeon down once, right? Well,
Good.
fuck pigeon. No, I knocked a pigeon down once, right? And it was like my neighbour, like a few doors down, seen me and done pick that up.
Actually,
What, as if you were doing like a hit and run?
Pigeon, like, you just gotta leave that there in front of my house and that. I was like 17, I had just passed my driving test. I was like, right, you got a bag or something? Mate. And then she was like, aye, and she came out with a bag and I was like, and went to pick it up. And it was actually, like, now you're saying about being pure stiff and weird.
Yeah.
Like, you could have did that and lifted it up with one wee bit of it. You know
Aye,
what I
you
mean?
could
It's
have just-
pure like
aye.
that, man. It was a weird feeling thing.
it's wild, man.
There is something very like even what you're saying like. Even just seeing like a dead bird and all that on like a pigeon being
It
ran out and
fucks you a
that.
wee bit.
Oh, I think do you think that's like the instinct that the fear of death that we've got
Just
is
get
like,
away from whatever's killed them and
Aye.
shit. Aye.
It's probably that. I don't know. I didn't expect it, but as soon as I seen it, weird brain stuff started going on.
What are you heavy scared of? Minute face. Together.
I'm scared. I'm really scared. I'm scared of drowning, man. Like that is
Mate.
my worst. I used to have this same dream where I was in the swimming up at like where my local like where we go like this Eastfield lifestyle something's called. And like I'd be in the swimming pool and then there would be like a cover for a pool, but it would be this big plastic
no.
cover, but it was like it would come down like the full size of the pool
slow and all
and
that.
it would come down and it was just slowly closing like down, and I used to have that same dream all the time.
Mate, I've got like I think I'm scared of like mad open bodies of water now when there's just nothing else. Or like see when like if you look down now
goes on
something's
for miles.
Aye, like see the mad big caverns and that in the ocean that you see, and it's like they just keep going.
Mate,
and sharks. Fuck,
See,
really
see,
scared of
what you're
sharks.
saying that like I used to get sleep paralysis like all the time, right? And I see, one time now you're in like lucid dreaming, and sometimes you're in control of it, and you're at like, so you're dreaming, right? So once I popped out of my body, right, and I was just like flying about my room, right, and then I went out, my window was open, and I went out my window, and see what you're saying, like a big open body of water with nothing in it. My house was just floating in that, and it was like like the ocean, like see the way if you it was crazy, mate.
I'm so scared of that shit, mate.
Aye,
It's
aye.
actually a phobia called thalassophobia, and do you know what my pals do? See, well, like Scoffy and that, and my cousin Marco, and I think Sarah does it still, my sister. Just send me pictures of shit, and see when I see it's navy, I just go at it and don't, because it's like they've looked up this phobia. It's called thalassophobia or something.
I feel like shit like that might, like, this is very low, but like, see, like, say like one of your ancestors drowned or something.
Jinx them,
I think shit like that
That's
too. I think that's why we're
That's a
like
cool thought.
scared of like certain things. Like maybe like a spider killed like one of your fucking, and that's why people are really scared of spiders. Like maybe
They're
my
so
ancestors were
popular.
attacked by multiple pigeons, mate. And maybe that's why I
could
am.
be.
Are you scared of pigeons?
Fucking hate them.
Your
mate.
ancestors were attacked by multiple dead people,
Aye.
zombies.
Oh, to be fair, all my ancestors did die. Honestly, mate. Like, what that's fucked up, innit?
Everyone, what, even the ones 200 years
Every
ago?
single one of them died
Fuck.
in the end. Yeah,
Oh my
So
God.
that's-
Straight, mate.
So you might die?
I mean, I swam in a place that you would fucking hate, mate. It was in Mexico. There's these things called cenotes, which are like caves that go fucking deep, like far in, and people used, like the Aztecs used to sacrifice like virgins in them and put
Nice.
gold down them just to like for like gods and shit.
Aye.
But if you like, you can look down and it's just like caves that go on for fucking
Oh,
ever,
fuck
man.
it, man. Have you ever seen the video of the cave? What do you call them? Like the people that go look for caves?
Oh, cave hunters,
The cave hunters. Is it?
the cave pack hunters.
The cave pack hunters. I like getting stuck in wee tiny bits like that size, and it's all in the water's like running on their head and all that, and they're getting pure pushed out for the bottom and that. It's the worst. Imagine that, like you're filling up. Evan, you heard of hoodies?
What?
I found this mad website, mate, and it's got hundreds and hundreds of hoodies and t-shirts.
Wait,
and
what?
that. I know, it's mad, mate.
Say it again.
Hoodies. H-O-O.
Is that Spanish?
It might be actually, aye.
Hoodies?
A hoodie, aye.
A hoodies?
But
What is it?
It was just this thing called Collection 26.
Was it? Right, okay, talk me through it. What is, can you break down what a hoodie is?
So a hoodie
Is it a hoodie? Am I saying it right?
It's kind of like a jumper, you know, like a jumper or a t-shirt.
Is
but
it
it's got
kind of like
a big-
exactly what you're wearing right now?
Oh fuck yeah!
Oh my God.
It's Collection 26.
Oh my God, so it is. Oh my goodness, guys. Have you seen this shit? Collection 26. They've been here for day one. Keep holding it and don't say it, right? They've been here from day one. We love them. I would take a bullet for Collection 26. And if you need to buy anybody a Christmas present, buy them this right now, because it's amazing. And I just learned what this was today. So when you're at the checkout, always use the code. What's the code, Jamie?
REILLYSGAFF.
You were mad nervous spelling that. That was crazy nervous.
never
I was
put me on the spot like that.
every letter you were like, I'm going to fuck this up.
KX4. Oh shit!
Shit. But aye, guys, go and visit them. Go to the description, their website and all that will be there, and use the code reillysgaff. Get you some money off. Cheers. I just wanted to talk about something me and the guys down at Myles and Co Barbers were talking about, and we were actually discussing, guys, the logistics of the reverse fade. You ever thought about the reverse fade?
I have not, mate.
So you start bald,
Right.
and then it fades out to like longer hair down at the bottom.
Oh, like the old guy thing.
Aye, like an old guy haircut, but gone in and actually, but it's faded.
Oh, right.
Would you think about that?
It's kind of sick.
Your hair's obviously sick right now, but
I've got the love heart too.
the love heart, the devil's hornet,
The devil's hornet. The devil's bee.
the springburn ferret, that's what they call that. So, aye, guys, we love Myles and Co here. If you want your hair a bit like mine, go there. If you wanted to look like JB's, don't go there. So yeah.
Go in and ask for the Jamie. You'll get that.
Go and ask for the devil's hornet, and that's what you'll receive, guys. But get down there in all seriousness. Campbell, most gentle hands in the West End.
Ryan, as I said before, he's got huge horns, like huge, big, massive, freakish,
Big
like
sides of
see like the
hussies.
big Hulk horns that used to get. They go Hulk smash.
How does he even cut your hair? That sounds like a nightmare.
It's like you just like the fingers like that and goes with the scissors. Like.
Wow, that's
Two of them are
crazy.
claws
If you
and
want
all.
to see that in real life, get down to Myles and Co. And as always, if you're booking through the Books app, write in the notes Reilly's Gaff, you'll get money off. If you're booking through the telephone, like the old-fashioned way, well, it's not really old-fashioned, walk-in's the old-fashioned way, innit? Even if you're walking in, whatever you're doing, when you're sitting in that chair about to get your haircut, go, oh, by the way, I've seen you on Reilly's Gaff hat, and then you'll get money off your haircut. Simple as that, guys.
Cheers, trips.
Cheers. Jamie, I really need some money and I need it right fucking now. What would you do about that?
I would... I don't know, you can look in like, see vending machines like in the wee Bolton bit. I do that sometimes.
And you can rob a house.
10
but
Ps,
you
20
shouldn't
Ps.
do that because that's illegal and immoral.
What would we do?
You should join Investor Watch UK. That's what you should do. Guys, now a lot of people are moving into this sort of direction of their life. They don't want to go and work a 9-to-5 job. They don't want to fucking have a boss. They want to be free to live their life with the funds. And how can you do that? Join Investor Watch UK. You got a bit of money aside. You're thinking, I've saved up a bit of money. I want to try and prolong this money. I want to expand this money. I want to add to this money. Get involved with Investor Watch UK. And with us, what are we getting, Jamie?
Correct me if I'm wrong, I think they get a month free.
A month free?
And correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure they've got 4 contributors to the website.
4 contributors with multi-6-figure investments. Are you listening to me right now? 6 figures? You ever seen that in your bank? Doubt it.
6 figures.
Some of you might. And if you have, send me some money. But yeah, guys, get involved. They're also in the giveaway, giving away a year's worth.
That's worth about £500.
£480.
Oh.
But we'll round up to 500, make it sound even better.
We'll put a score in.
But I check the description out. They'll add you to their Telegram group. They'll give you all the best advice. It's going to go swimmingly, guys. Proven track records. Thank you. See how you're saying like you had a fear of death and all that?
Aye.
Obviously you done the Psychic documentary, right?
Yeah.
Which was fantastic, mate. Honestly,
Brilliant.
thoroughly enjoyed watching it. Fantastic. Was that like, were you a bit freaked out by that as well when you went in?
That was a bit wild because I went in kind of having pretty negative views towards psychics because I don't really believe in the afterlife, so I kind of thought it was a bit fucked up that people would ever claim that they could do that. But I ended up, the psychic that I met in a restaurant in Motherwell.
The first one?
The first woman, yeah. So I just had a breakup and I was feeling like really shite, and this woman just like kind of struck up a conversation with me, and she was like, "Are you alright?" And I was like, "No." Like she just knew, and she was like, "Yeah, and I'm a psychic." Like, so I was like, in my head, it was like, "Oh yeah, it's a documentary, that's fine." So I went to her house, and honestly, like what happened in her house was like fucking wild, man. Like I'll never forget it. I cried for like 2 hours straight in this woman's living room, and I'm not like a big crier, but she just like hit something. It was like therapy, unbelievable. When I came out, being like, that might not have been real, but I don't give a fuck if that was real. That was just an amazing experience that I needed.
That's something a lot of people need, and like
Totally. Like
helps
I'd had a breakup, and my granny had just passed away. I was really close to my granny, and she brought my granny into the room and made me feel it just for a bit.
Did you really feel like something was
Oh
there?
man, it was like, I mean, she just said these unbelievably accurate things about
Aye.
that. She was like, "A granny's here. Can I give you a hug from her?" She hugs me. I'm like fucking crying.
Oh my
It started, so she was like talking away, and then she just went, "Your granny, like she's here," and I was already like, "This is." I was a bit angry. I was like, "This is like
Aye, shut
fucked
up,
up
man."
territory because if you get this wrong, this is going to really upset me." And then she just went, "Wee Tom plays guitar." And Wee Tom
Tommy.
is what my granny called my brother Tommy, who is a professional musician. And from then on, it was just like hit after hit. She told me my sister's wedding and shit, and like really weird specific stuff that only my granny knew. Unbelievable. Don't know how she did it. And then and I just came out feeling unbelievable.
Did you feel like a weight had lifted off you?
Aye. It's just like, because even when you're like, death generally, like, I don't know if it's like young guys or just like, or anyone, like, you just, I don't know if we grieve properly like these days, especially if you're not really religious or you don't, I don't know, I don't feel like there's a set way of grieving, and I feel like I didn't do that.
People are less like reflective and all that as well.
Exactly,
They don't
yeah.
think about how they're feeling.
We
now.
ignore death.
Aye.
It's not really a thing that you think about. I think that's why I was freaked out by it, because I've never really discussed it.
Mm-hmm.
So getting a stranger to talk about, even the bits when she wasn't being a psychic, just to listen to me talk about my granny and like give me a hug, is a really weird, unusual experience. Like, when's the last time you cried by a stranger?
Nah, never.
Like,
Never.
so coming out, I was just like, fuck, man. I got it out. I just like,
That's
I needed to
mad,
do
eh?
that, and I needed to like, I had a breakup too. I needed to complain about it and like have someone who wasn't part of it.
Aye.
You know, that
So like, even if it is like fake,
Yeah.
it still helps.
but is it fake? Like feeling
Aye.
anything is real.
I like what is real then, what
Yeah.
is fake,
Aye.
you know what I mean?
So then I went to her show like a week later, and I saw her. I think honestly saved somebody's life. Somebody was suicidal. She had a moment with the person that was really beautiful, like unbelievable. and I just thought, I don't really give a fuck if that's like fake, because that
If it's
guy
supernatural or no.
didn't want to be here and now he does. So
That is like the realest thing you can do, isn't it?
yeah.
Aye, she seemed lovely, that woman, man.
So there's more in the documentary that I wanted to put in, and I ended up actually kind of fighting with the BBC a wee bit, because obviously they can't be seen to like promote psychics, and neither I'm not promoting it. I don't think it's real. I don't believe in the afterlife. But fuck me, man, it's worth a go if you're in like.
It's a really good documentary, isn't it?
I think it's good. It might be good for people who are really struggling to with grieving,
Yeah.
and like maybe like there's nothing in me that like I feel like is tormenting me about like a certain dead person or anything like that. So I don't have any interest. But there's obviously some people who lose loved ones suddenly and never. I just want to talk to them one more time and see what like. And if someone can even just make them feel like that, I mean,
It's
job done. Even if
Yeah.
it. But then, how the fuck can they just do it? Like my mum, I was telling my mum that she was like, "Who's on this week?" I was telling her, and I was like, "Oh, I done this documentary about sidekicks and all that." And she was saying, "Do you know what's funny? Like I was sitting, I don't know where she was sitting, in an airport or something." She said she didn't even know she was pregnant yet, right? And she was like, "You couldn't have tell. Like she would have been able to tell her body was different than that. Couldn't tell at all." And a woman came up to her and she was like, I don't know if she offered her a free hanger. She was like, she's the same thing as you, just come up to her. And she was like, so I'm born December 15th. And so obviously that would have been like well months before that. And she was like, "You're going to have a really good Christmas this year." And she was like, "What?" And she's like, "You're going to have a baby this year. It's going to be the best Christmas ever." And she was like talking about obviously her being pregnant with me. And she had no idea she was pregnant. So how the fuck did she know that?
It's unbelievable. It's beautiful, and might be real, might not be real. But your mum had this amazing
Think about this though, right? The chances, right? I'm not saying it's real, but think about how slim the chances are that you can walk up to someone who doesn't even look pregnant and tell them they're going to have a baby at Christmas time, and they actually do, and they don't even know they're pregnant yet.
I know,
Like
it's
the
mad.
chances of that are so slim. You're like,
So like I was thinking back on the experience I had, and I was like, right, what could have been Googled or what could have been guessed? And the last thing she said to me, right, was what's going on with your best pal and a tangerine? Like, what's that about, right? And I was like, what are you talking about? She was like, your granny's laughing about your best pal and a tangerine. So fucking specific. Like, who's got a fucking story with their granny and a tangerine?
you can just
My
guess
best
that.
pal's this guy Craig, and he steals tangerines from my house. It's like a weird running joke, right? Because there's a fruit bowl next to my mum's door, and he always tries to steal tangerines, right? And my granny fucking loved this guy. And that's it. It's just like your best
It's
pal,
such a
your granny, and a
specific thing,
tangerine, and you're just like really weird.
Mate, like, see, the thing is, this is what I always say with this shit, and I say it on the Deep Fried as well. It's like, if all the shit that's happening right now can happen, like, we just don't question it because that's all we know. Like, we're human. You've got two arms, and the air, and the sky, and the grass. Like, how can we totally write all that shit off? Like, oh no, that's mad. Just because we can't do it,
Yeah.
we think no one can do it. You know what I mean?
I have a theory about it, which is that I don't necessarily think it's psychic. However, I think human beings can sense more about each other than
It's empathy, innit?
it's empathy. It's super empathy. So
Aye.
she's just an incredibly empathetic person.
And that's weird looking to like people. That's weird looking in 2021. Like people that are like that.
But people who take
Do you know what I
acid say the same thing when they or like do mushrooms. They feel this instant fucking
Connection to everything, mate.
And mushrooms weirdly connect trees and send information. Like there's a thing about
Aye.
Well, we only use like a certain part of our brain, don't we?
But is that not true?
Yeah, it got debunked.
So what, we use 100% of our brain?
80 or something.
but not all of it's conscious though. But your brain, every
Aye.
part of it's doing
Do you know
shit.
what? Do you know what happened? Like to me, no long ago that I pure thought about this. Like now you're talking about like transferring like energy and all that. See like, or like your consciousness. See when I was in Five Guys, right?
Sorry, it's just funny that it's bad guys.
The guy had like say my order was like 31, right? Or 32, mine was, right? And the guy was about to shout out, and I was like, he's got my order there, and he was about to shout out 32, I thought. So I had my mad answer loaded, I was just going to go, cheers mate, like that, and walk away, right? But then there's a lass in front of me, and he goes, 31, and I was like, and she goes, oh yes, aye, cheers and all that, and he goes, no bother, there you go. And you could pure see it, like, and I was like, see if I went on and done cheers, probably would go, no bother mate.
Aye, but
Pure
because
transferred,
Aye,
mate.
like it hit him.
Aye.
I think it's like the same. Like if any of you ever worked in like a shop, like just like retail,
Aye,
like, so
aye.
like see when like a nice customer comes in and they're pure, how about you have a brilliant day? Like you can feel it in your body. You're
Aye,
like
mate,
whoa,
aye,
like,
Energy's so
Aye.
important, man. You can like totally change somebody's day.
Aye.
Like I was just we're all contemplating what we just said.
I think we were all talking, but we were all telepathically talking.
This is fucking mad. But you know Steve-O from Jackass. This is like Steve-O, obviously, like he's a fanny, right? But he said something that fucking changed my view on shit, which is that because we all think of ourselves as like projecting consciousness, like we are the conscious being, right? And we can connect to each other. But he was like, mate, what if all of the consciousness is out there and we are like radios fucking programming into it? So we're all joined onto the same thing.
Mate, that's DMT. That's like DMT connects everybody's consciousness.
So people fucking who take DMT say the same thing. So I'm like, wait, like, why couldn't it be like that? Because you're just assuming that you're important and you're the transmitter. But like, what if you're not? What if
it's that like it's called like oneism or something? Like there's a mad religion about it. It's just like everybody's all just got one consciousness. Like there's studies that, like, see in LA, there's a group called the Terence something Foundation, right? And they do like yoga, big yoga things and that, right? So they did a thing that it was like 20,000 people in LA all did yoga at the same time, and then like for every day at a certain time, like for 2 or 3 weeks, and in that time span, like crime fell like 60% in LA. And then
because everybody was doing the yoga.
No, but like there was like 14 million people or something. I mean, and then like see when there's a boxing match on, it goes up 60% when that's in your
like the transfer of the energy in people.
I'm reading a book now called Think, right? I've read it before, but it's about your instinctual reactions to things, right? And one experiment they did is they got people to think about being a professor for 20 minutes, and then they play Trivial Pursuit, and the guys who think about smart shit or just the idea of being a professor get 10% better results. So the idea of like a boxing match and violence being put into your head, people become more violent. Or like if you get people to watch stuff that has old people in it, they walk out of the room slower because your brain
it's
gets
absorbing
everything and trying to get you to react in the appropriate way.
I suppose that's a bit like say like you go to you're in primary school and you've got your pals in primary school, and then you go into high school and it's people from other schools and they're a bit tougher, a bit nerdy, but you start acting like that because I suppose you just maybe it's like to do with like absorbing like and adapting to your environment almost, because we're very like adaptable as humans. Do you know what I mean?
But I think empathy is a really one of the most important and one of the most lacking things right now because of the internet. You know, have you noticed when you're driving a car, it's so easy to get road rage and shout at the other guy because the other guy's in a car. You can't see the person. If you know the guy, you're not going to fucking shout at him. But the guy, it's a faceless thing. And the internet does the same thing. And I think that the more separated you get, the easier it is to get angry at each other.
And it's easy to be nasty at each other as well. Like you look at TikTok as the worst for it, man. Look at any video that's got a decent amount of views on TikTok. You will not see a video that's got a hateful comment on it. Like at least one, and it will have no likes, and the guy will have no followers and nobody following anybody. It's just some guy raging at the world, just like, this wasn't funny, or this guy's an idiot. And it's like, but I have, see, but you're talking about road rage, I have this theory about like, I don't know if it's a theory I have or I've read it somewhere, so I might just claim it actually, unless it's my theory, right? So like, see a lot of people, so see when you're coming back from work, right, you're more likely to like not let people by and not let people out and that, because you feel like you've gave your bit to the world that day, and like you feel like you're owed stuff back. But see if you're on your day off and you're driving about, you're a bit calmer because I suppose a lot of it's to do with like the stress of being at work and that, but there's something about like, see when I'm driving back from work and to work, coming back from work, I'm more likely to be like, I'm going in front of this guy. But see if I've been off, I'm like letting people by and that. I feel like it's like you feel like you've gave your hard work to the world and now that owes you. If you know what I mean?
You're exactly right. But the weird thing is like, it's better for your brain to then go, I'm going to keep letting people out.
Yeah, train your brain.
You don't do it.
No.
Like if I'm in a bad mood, I don't do it. But the best way to get out of that negativity is to like put positivity into the world. Like how if you look at old people footage, you feel slow. If you do happy things and like look at happy stuff, then you feel
you get that back almost.
Yeah, it's mad. Yeah.
Well, I seen a guy write that exact thing you said, put good things out into the world and get good things back, but he had just been stabbed in the head 7 times It was like a wrestler, like see like a
Did he
small.
put some bad things out
So-
into the world?
no, this is like an innocent referee, right? Like that's just right, and it's like it's like an independent wrestling show in America somewhere, and it's like now like a lot of them do like the mad hardcore shit and light each other on fire and all that. It was one of these ones, but the guy like there must have been a planned bit where the ref was meant to get hit off a guy, and he has this mad blunt like sharp, no blunt, like sharp object, and he's actually digging it into the guy's head, and there's like blood. But he's been banned for like he's not allowed to wrestle and all that. But that guy, that's the exact thing he said. Put good. I believe if you put good things out in the world, good things will come your way. And he's got fucking big dents in his head and all that. But no, say he's obviously meaning like for the future. Like, look, I'm just going to stay positive and things will work out. I'm in a. But as you're saying, that's the best time to do that when you're in the worst situation. You know what I mean?
I mean, I believe in fucking like manifestation almost. Like I don't really believe in it, but all the things that I've been like, I'm gonna do that. I want that. They've started to happen, which is weird.
We spoke about that obviously in Kaz's
I
episode.
heard that in your episode, but I don't know if it's. I don't think it's necessarily like some sort of magical, mystical thing. I think it's if you have something in your brain all the time and consciously move towards it, then you're going to do better.
I think it's like a reminder. It's like a daily. A reminder in your head, but also I think it's something weird about like so this is such a weird thing, right? Do you ever think, I don't even know if I'll be able to portray how weird it was, right? You ever just remember somebody for like you went to primary with, just randomly just pop into your head and like no seen them in about 12 years, like literally you don't have them on like any social media, none of that. You're like, wonder where that person is. There was a girl, right, I was thinking about that. I don't even know she went to my high school. It might have just been my primary, which is even well further back, right? And I was thinking about, I've not seen this girl since I was in school, whenever it was primary. And I was thinking about her for like a day. And see, the next day, I got on the train and I sat down and she was there. And it's like, I didn't manifest that on purpose, but it's almost like, I think what you're saying is true. It's like, it's not a mad magical thing. I think there's just shit that's going on that we're not aware of.
Do you know what I'm thinking about that one? But maybe it was like, because you hadn't seen her in that long, you'd pure forgotten about her, but because you thought about her, you noticed her. You could have been sitting next to her like every day, do you know what I mean?
No, I would have seen her, because I know who, honestly, it was now that we are sitting on the train, like, because I notice see if I look at people, I'll notice who they are, or like, I'm quite observant, I kind of look at my surroundings. It was so fucking weird. Literally, and think about it, literally on the same carriage, the same train, the seat across from me. I never seen her. I just sat down and I looked across and I was like, what the fuck, man?
I did a weird sudden urge to just go, did you pump her? But that's not even like me. I don't know what that was.
I didn't.
I think, again, sorry to mention the property boss. I think after watching that, I had him in my brain and was like, did you pump her?
That's it, you need to ask.
Channeling Alan Shields.
Big Shields.
Did you tell her that as soon as you seen her? Did you go, here, I was thinking about you yesterday, how weird is that?
I swear I kinda wanted to, and I was like, that would be the most insane thing ever.
I do that all the time though, and I feel like people generally react well when you like hit them with a random piece of
I had a dream about you, and like it's somebody that you bumped into, you've not seen in like 5 years, but I had a dream about you last night. How weird's that?
I did a bit in the sort of like office I'm working in now, and it didn't go down well at all. Basically, like I was making a cup of tea, right, while I was editing, and they've got a box of like Lotus Biscoff biscuits, right. There was a guy I didn't know, and they were all broken, and I was raging. And I was like, did that bit about if somebody fucking snapped all the biscuits, because like someone raging at their work snapped all the biscuits and then left me to like deal with this situation, because it's a Dunkin' biscuit. It's not like one you can do snapped, like. And I thought that was funny, and he's just like nothing, you know.
Like no one said.
He was like, right. But usually, if you do that,
it would be pointless to snap all the biscuits. Like, we're here at work.
But
then I was editing later on, and I was raging, and I was like, fuck, I want to snap all those biscuits.
You should now make a point of doing that.
Mate, that's putting negativity into the world, do you know what I mean?
Snapping the biscuit.
Whereas me,
should be gluing
what
all the
I could have
biscuits back
done,
together.
I could have sorted all the nice full biscuits to the top, and then I would have had a better day, because
I believe in that. Can I ask you something else, if you believe in it?
Right.
Because I know you went and done a bit of it. Flat Earth.
Flat Earth.
Talk to me about the Flat Earth convention.
Flat Earth, man. So I made a documentary about the Flat Earthers. I fucking love Flat Earthers, man. I think they're actually, this is the best people. So fun, so interesting, and weirdly not stupid. That's the first thing that people need to learn about the Flat Earth community, is they're not idiots. It's weird. It's like all conspiracies, and not even conspiracies, all political affiliations, and whether they're right or wrong, left or right, like play on the same things, right? People want to feel smart and part of a community, right? And if you're not smart and kind of like don't really have a community, Flat Earth goes, look, do you want to feel smart and have loads of new pals? Because like that, because there's lots of things about the way the Earth is made up that are quite hard to understand. And when people first hit me with the Flat Earth theory, I'd be like, oh fuck, I don't actually have an answer for that. There's like some stuff that most people just don't know. Like if a flat earther was sitting here, they would beat all of us in a debate.
But there's also things that like you can say, well, how come this then? And they've not got answers for as well.
Rarely, man.
Here's the one thing.
The planes going.
My old boss, right, and when I worked in the railway, he was a flat earther, but he was the kind of guy you could show him a video for 5 minutes and he just would have believed kind of editing as long as it was edited well and that. Do you know what I mean? A bit of serious music and that behind it. But he would say things like, "How come you look at the horizon?" And it does. But I would always say to any flat earther, right? I'd be like, why would they want to kid on that the Earth was flat? What is in it for people to believe?
A few reasons, right? There's one.
Yes.
Some people think that the Earth's actually a lot bigger than we think it is. So Antarctica keeps going, and they think there's other resources past that are being managed, i.e., managing climate change and running out of oil to try and make us buy more. Another, what's the other fucking reason?
The stock market. They know.
I've not heard that one, but mate, there's loads of like. It's basically about control.
What if
the stock market?
If the Earth was flat?
Because they say shit about like just this. This was on the radio.
The stock market always crashes, man. It's a weak bitch.
Sorry, the other one is religious. Right? So a lot of people think because in the Bible, in the Old Testament, they mention the firmament, which is like a dome over the earth, and obviously that doesn't exist. And they think that making us feel like we're part of an infinite universe and we're infinitesimally small. Makes us feel less important and less connected to God.
Right.
God is not real or at least the Old Testament God's definitely not real if the earth is round because it's not in the Bible. So that's in America it's a religious thing.
Wow. So I thought it was just a kind of like, I thought it was more just like some guy kind of thought about it, made a video, and then just everybody kind of hopped on it. But then you've also got me, a hollow earther.
That's what I got.
Nah, I'm not actually. But here, you know, like,
I met a donut earther in America. So I went to the conference in Denver. They're all there, and I was chatting to this woman, and she was like, I think that she's German. She was like, the earth is a donut field. It is a donut field.
Here,
I was
look,
like,
see every time somebody says something in a German accent to you, you're like, I fucking believe you. See, like all the German football managers, they just shout. You're just like, this guy is going to do the job here. Rather than new Man United manager is like, we're going to press. That was a bit Asian there. I went really like East German there.
I mean that one that came to Hearts mind, and it was like meant to be like the Hearts Klopp. And it was doing all the same shit. So I'm not like, this guy knows football. Just because he's German, it's pure shite.
My techie teacher at school was a flat earther.
Really?
You're arguing with the class about it like that. You're arguing back. No, what you gotta do is send me to the he'd master for arguing with a flat earther.
Just make up something, plant drugs on you or something.
Could you act as a flat earther here? Like, do you know enough about them now? You've went and did
that
the
you could
documentary.
debate.
I know quite a lot, yeah.
Right, so how come when a boat's gone over the horizon you can stop seeing it?
Well, it gets too far away. Here's the thing about that is that it, like you kind of don't see it go over. According to them, basically, if you look at a telescope, it just gets too smaller and smaller and smaller and just disappears.
Does it?
And I mean, I don't believe this, right? But what they would tell you is that you can see it from much further than you're supposed to. So the horizon's 14 miles away, something like that. So the idea is that, like, for example, the Ailsa Craig or certain islands. For example, I stood in Spain and I could see part of Africa, right?
Yeah.
How it's more than 14 miles away. How come I can see it?
That's mad, actually. Oh, because it's higher than the horizon.
Confirmed. That's flat.
Oh no, sorry.
But is it? I mean, is it high enough that, like, because it's way more than 14 miles, right? So it'd have to be pretty fucking tall for any of it to peak up. You know what I mean?
Right, he's convincing me now.
This is the thing. See, it's like with Hollow Earth. There's a video, right? It's like been like shadow banned off YouTube, right? Like, see when you search, you literally need to go into the fucking channel and get it. Like, you can't search. Even if you type out the full caption, you don't find it. But before we done the deep fried and I was talking about Hollow Earth and that on it, I was watching this video and I was like, Erin, watch this, right? 3 minutes. It's a 27-minute video. 3 minutes in, I believe that. I'm like, Erin, you need to kind of.
Do you write 2 things that will make you believe the Earth is flat? That's really fucked up. So the week before I went to that conference in Denver, right, I filmed something for the Masons, right? This is genuinely true.
Nice.
I got a weird job, just random text, like, hi, can you film this? And they kept trying to negotiate me down on price. And I was like, nah, fuck it, I'm not going to do it. And then they were like, no, please do it. We'll pay you the money. And I was like, right. So I do the job. And a week later, I'm handing over the footage. And he invited me to Kelvin Grove Art Gallery. I'm sitting having lunch with this guy. And he's like, you know the Masons built this? I'm like, all right, aye. And he was like, do you want to be a Mason? And I was like, aye, maybe.
Was this more than your yes thing? Just saying yes?
I should never been asked to be a Mason before. So I was like, fuck it, aye. I mean, maybe aye. I was like, do you know my dad's Catholic? And he was like, aye, it's fine. So anyway, he's like, aye, be a Mason. I was like, mate, I'm going to America tomorrow, so just...
Maybe you met a stonemason or something.
You literally, do you want to come and chop rocks up? So he was like, mate, honestly, you'll love it. And I was like, cool. Cool.
Love it.
He was telling me about how, because I travel a lot for work, and he was like, mate, you'll love it. There's places all over the place. And I was like, fuck, maybe I will be a Mason.
Aye. It's
So
just a big club,
I go to
innit?
the fucking Flat Earth conference the next day, and they're like, it's a Freemason conspiracy. And I was like, hang on a minute.
Mate, that's you finding your purpose in life.
That's fucking wild, isn't it? And then the other thing that happened was, like, a couple of weeks later, I was flying to Italy to shoot something else, totally not Flat Earth related, right? I'm sitting on the plane, the guy next to me pulls out a laptop, and he starts looking at pictures of space and all these diagrams, and I went, all right, mate, what are you looking at? I'm making this documentary about Flat Earth, and he was like, I'm the head of the European Space Agency. And I was like, fuck off.
His life's actually full of nonsense.
And he was like, aye, mate, I'm the head of the European Space Agency. And I was like,
Nice to meet
cool,
you.
mate, I've got a lot of questions for you. Give me his business card, man, I'll show you. It just says like his name and then like head of European space flight.
mad.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake.
And he was like, mate, I fucking phone astronauts. If I get, I'll get phone calls from them when they're up there, and I'll be like, right, what's happening?
That's crazy. I didn't know you could. Well, obviously you need to be able to do that. I thought
Nice
they could
guy.
only phone like.
No, they phone his mobile. He was like, I've got the mobile. Like, I just dial in. It says it's coming from Houston because that's where all the towers
Aye.
are.
They would get heavy good reception right next to the satellites.
Yeah, I mean, but both of those are quite, big coincidences.
Aye, that is mad.
Not the only time I've been asked to be in the Masons, by the way.
Really?
There was one time. This is another good story. I was in New York, and I got the last Thomas Cook flight ever, and the Thomas Cook went under half an hour before the flight. So I got the ticket out, and I got to the desk, and there was just nobody there, and we're all just waiting about, and they were like, "Aye, Thomas Cook doesn't exist anymore." And I was like,
Document it.
"No, I just went and got pissed in the airport and waiting for her." So they were like, "Right, we're going to charter you a flight home." So they got us a fucking private, but it was still a normal flight, but it was like a private crew. And I got on the plane, and I ended up with this guy who, like, was actually mental. Like, he was like a mad salesman guy, the hairiest arms ever, right? Pure American, like, gold watch and all that.
Aye.
And then we're chatting away for ages, and he was like, "Do you want to be a Mason?" And I was like, "No way, man! Why did the Masons want to recruit me so much?"
Was this the same trip that you went away?
No, different. Like, this is like a year later, 2 years later.
Because that would be
Like,
mad.
maybe you just give off Mason vibes.
I give off real Mason
It's
vibes,
a
man.
tash.
Maybe.
My pal, his granddad was a Mason, and he told me what he thinks the handshake is, but he's probably wrong. But maybe I could have did it and seen.
Is it not just that?
Maybe you've been doing
It's
it.
there or something?
Maybe you've been
maybe
doing
like
it this full
accidentally,
time.
I've got a natural Mason handshake.
I was just and
He had the ring and everything, man. He had a fucking yeah.
Aye, you shake their hands and they're just like, Mason?
Mate. Wild though, man. So Earth might be flat and it might be a big conspiracy. If I was like prone to conspiracy and being a bit mental, I would have already gone a bit mental
Aye.
from those two experiences.
True. What would I do if I went to a Hollow Earth convention, mate?
I know, mate.
I would just live in a tent and fucking
Yeah.
Charter a plenty of gaffer.
eat only fried eggs.
See
man.
sorry, just to jump back, see on empathy, right? I got a good point. So at the Flat Earth convention, there was a guy there called Mad Mike Hughes, right? Mad Mike Hughes tried to send himself into space to see if the Earth was flat. On a rocket.
Is it the mad guy?
Then he died, right?
Aye.
So obviously everyone was like, "That's fucking hilarious," and it is funny, right? It is heavy funny that he did that. One of the nicest guys I've ever met in my life. So I was
You actually met him?
I spent the fucking whole day with him, man. He was so nice. Even spoke to him on the phone like a month after. He wanted me to come out and film him fucking launching. And
You would have been like access to murder or something. Like
so he was like,
You'd
so that all came out, and obviously because you don't know who he is, it's really easy to laugh at him. But then I was like, it's obviously a funny situation, but at the same time, so kind, man. Like, just the kindest guy. Kept coming up to ask if we were all right and asking us loads of questions about Scotland. Just like pure welcoming,
like
friendly.
genuinely interested in you.
Genuinely, just really nice. Gave me a really big hug when we were leaving.
Asked you to be in the Masons.
Gave me a weird handshake, don't know what was going on.
But I learned it.
Maybe you've been in the Masons your full life and you don't know.
I've got another really good Mason story, but I can't tell it on here, so I'll tell you after.
How can somebody have 3 Mason stories?
No, this is like the 4th.
Somebody who's in the Masons.
Yeah, it can only be explained you're in the Masons.
Joined it 4 times.
But another thing you've done, which I've been told to ask you about, of Sean Ewart, who's like the private investigator for this pod. It's not really private, to be honest, but
knows his shit.
He just knows lots of people and lots of things.
I'm genuinely feeling a bit nervous as to what he fucking knows about me.
It's not a bad thing. He said you ended up on a boat with Billy Connolly. Talk us through this.
That's a fucking good story.
Right, tell us the Billy Connolly story.
Right. That manifestation thing, right? One year, I think it was 2019, I just decided I'm going to meet Billy Connolly this year because I'm like a huge fan. I was listening to this song a lot. I Wish I Was in Glasgow. My brother played it at Christmas and I was like, that's so beautiful. Was listening to it all the time and thought, fuck it, I need to meet this guy while he's still fit and healthy, right? So I found out he was going to be in New York for a parade, this Tartan Week parade thing, which is a Scotland festival. I've got an Argus story about it that I can maybe tell later on. So I found out he was going to be there, and I'd been there before. So I thought, right, I'll try and pitch to the BBC any way I can be there. And I found out everything that was happening and pitched everything as a documentary to try and get a fucking ticket there. Couldn't get it, right? Then I phoned all these guys that I knew in New York that had kind of been involved in Scottish creative industries. Nothing. So I phoned this artist called Gerard Burns, right, who's partially responsible for my entire career. And he was like, oh man, I'm not going to New York, but I'm going to Hong Kong the week before with Billy Connolly. And I was like, this is fucking too perfect, right? So he's painting this famous rugby player, Doddy Weir, and they're auctioning it in Hong Kong. And I was like, right, pitched it to the BBC, and they were like, aye. And I was like, no fucking way. But they were like, but we don't want the Hong Kong bit, we only want the bit of him painting. And I was like, fuck. So anyway, I filmed that, and then I just get a random phone call from the airline who's funding the whole thing, being like, mate, are you a video guy? And I was like, aye. It's like, do you want to come to Hong Kong? We've not got a very big budget, but we'll send you first class. And I was like, aye. Like, what the fuck? So get there. Doddy Weir's there. He's got motor neuron disease, right? And it's fucking soundest guy ever, right? But that's what the kind of story was, a benefit for that, right? And I'm just flying over with Doddy's family, and I get on the plane, and it's like actually like I had a bed and shit. Like never experienced anything like it. Couldn't
on the plane.
On the plane, like my seat went down into a bed. I had a wee thing, like fucking had a woman who was there all the time, like just giving me whatever I wanted, like fucking metal cutlery. Mate, he's like thinking about that, and I'm like, metal cutlery. Like, I got a fucking fork, guys.
Metal cutlery.
Have you guys seen the forks in here, man? So just like anyway, so we get there, and the first night they're like, mate, we're all going out in a boat tonight, like don't worry about filming anything, but do you want to just come? And I was like, aye. So I bring my camera anyway, and I get on the boat. As I step on, it's a yacht owned by an airline, so it's like fucking good shit, right? I step on it, and Billy Connolly's just in the door, and he's like, all right, I'm Billy. And I was like,
I know.
This is exactly what I wanted to happen. Like, how? So we fucking, the boat leaves the harbour, right? Victoria Harbour in Hong Kong, already really beautiful. And everyone's kind of like hounding him a wee bit. There's like 20 of us in the boat, so it's not very much. And I just hang back because I just do not feel comfortable on a yacht owned by an airline. It's just not a situation that
Just natural.
yeah. So I hang back, and everyone's kind of like, they're all kind of famous, all famous rugby players and all that. And Billy Connolly keeps looking at me, right? And he comes up to me, I'm eating a burger, like a wee slider, and he goes, slow down, son, you might want to lose some weight. And I was like, fucking yes. Like, and then he went, where are you from? And I was like, Torrance. And he was like, that's a middle class shithole. And I was like, I mean, so then we just sat down and we just started chatting. And I think he saw that I wasn't hounding him. So like, he also was the only other guy on the boat that didn't look comfortable on this boat. So we were just chatting away. We ended up on the front of the boat together, right? Just like, and he was telling stories that I recognised from like stand-up bits, and it was just unbelievable, right? So we have a good night. And that was it. So anyway, we do that, fine. And the next night was the actual event, right? And this is where the story gets fucking good. So I go there with my camera, and he's backstage. And because we're best pals now, I was like, right, Billy, how you doing?
Willie.
And I swear to God, man, this is going to sound like I'm bullshitting, right? He looks a wee bit like down. And I'm like, you all right? And he went, Conor, honestly, like, see with the Parkinson's, I don't really feel comfortable on stage the same way I used to, and I'm like, I'm quite nervous. And I was like,
that's mad.
Fuck it, like, it hit me so hard because I just love this man so much, right? So I gave him a wee bit of pep talk, man. I was like, honestly, with what you've done and how like, I don't know, the reputation you already have, just you showing your face is gonna like be the thing. Like you don't need to do
no one's
anything.
expecting that
No
back,
one
right.
wants anything from you. You've already done it, right? And he looks at me really genuinely and goes, "Thank you, man." And I was like, "Fuck."
I just started greeting, man.
So he put his arm on my shoulder and I went, "Thank you." And I was like, I don't even know what's happening right now. And there's a wee pause and I went, "Billy, I need to be totally honest with you. I'm actually a huge fan of yours. You wrote my favourite song ever. And I just wanted to say how great it's been to meet you because you've been everything I wanted you to be." And he went, "You know, last time I was in Glasgow, I walked down Buchanan Street and someone started playing that song and I started crying. And my eyes are welling up and I was like, this is fucking mental." And I went, "Billy, can I get a picture with you before I go?" He said, "I'd love to get a picture with you." And at that moment, the CEO of the airline, Cathay Pacific, comes in and they took Billy away and they're like, "Billy, photos." Press photographer comes in and I was like, "Cool, I'm not getting my picture, but that's fine. I just had the most incredible experience of my life."
Aye.
I leave and I'm shooting about. I'm outside of the VIP wee bit, right? So I'm in the pub with the public. I tap on my shoulder, I turn around and Billy Connolly's like, "Me and you're getting our picture, come on."
Oh,
And it was supposed to be a surprise that he was there and everyone's like, "That's fucking Billy Connolly." And he like drags me back in,
That's
takes a
class,
picture with me. And I was just like, I can't actually believe that happened.
Have you got the picture?
Got a picture, yeah. And I went, and then I went, and fucking, I honestly like cried a wee bit after. It was unbelievable, and he's just such a genuinely good man.
Aye,
I
a
could see
hero, man.
even from him seeing me being uncomfortable and going, "I'm going to go and make sure he feels comfortable."
just a good, like, because it's fucking Billy Connolly, doesn't need.
Yeah.
You would have not thought any less of him if he didn't do
didn't
that.
need
You
to do
just
that
like,
at all.
it's Billy Connolly.
But he noticed that I was the only guy on the boat that wasn't having as much fun, and just thought, right, I'm going to make sure that he's part of this.
That's like a genuine good guy, man.
Really good guy. Aye, it's fucking a wild
That's
story.
amazing, man.
As well, man, it's like, that's probably how he's fucking done so well, because you can kind of tell he's not an arsehole or anything, do you know
The
what I
weird
mean?
thing is, like,
Best storyteller.
anyone I know who's met him has the same kind of story. It's always like, he was a really genuinely good guy. I don't know anyone who's like, "Oh, I met Billy Connolly and he was rude." Everyone, even if they met him for a second, they're like, even if you walk past him, he's just a genuine smile or like whatever.
Aye.
And you're just like, fuck, he really is the guy that you want him to be.
Aye,
And that's not
like
always the
something
case. Yeah. So,
Wow, man.
man, it's just like,
That's
I'm
incredible,
honestly
isn't it?
feeling a wee bit like jangly
Aye, because
telling
if
the
you're
story.
reliving it.
Yeah.
That's
it's cool,
crazy.
man.
I even like watching, like, did any see the thing? I think it was on Sky, like last year or last year, and it was like him in his house in Miami. And he's showing him drawing and all that, and he's like, he's just when he's talking about things like the Parkinson's, and that, he's like, so when I'm drawing it, kind of goes away, you know, and you can see him doing pure straight lines and all that, man, and it does pure make you sad because he's a mad national, like a proper hero, man.
Like, if you had to, like, what is the thing in America, Mount Rushmore?
Aye.
If you had like a Scottish Mount Rushmore, he would be on it.
He's the, by
He'd
far.
be fourth faces.
He's the guy.
It would be us three and him.
So unbelievably talented, man. He's like fucking, funny and musically gifted and everything, man.
Aye, it's mad because they wanted to be like a mad rock star when he was younger, didn't he?
Did he?
Aye, he said that was in that.
Call yourself a fan, mate.
His song is "I Wish I Was in Glasgow" is honestly like the most beautiful
Mate, I
song.
thought, see, when you said about the song, like, obviously, you're talking about "If You're Beautiful," and I thought it was
wasn't it for my wellies?
Wasn't it for my wellies? Would you be? You'd be in the hospital or infirmary.
Imagine he was like, he thought it was like that one. You're like, no, wish it was my.
And he's like, what up, fucking piece of shit?
Get off this, you.
Mate, I bashed out in 30 seconds, mate. Aye.
That is crazy.
Good
So
guy.
how long ago was that?
That was like 2019, I think.
Aye, so like
Yeah.
quite recent, man. Jeez.
It's wild. Other than that, though, man, I fucking hated Hong Kong, man. I just didn't.
It's good to hear that he's still kicking about.
Man, he was
things
really
that,
like healthy looking. The thing, he wasn't fully like pure jumping about, but man, he
Aye.
was pretty.
The thing with that is, man, it's just like sadly, it just fucking, it's not going to, it doesn't get
Man,
better.
the
You
more
know what I
sad
mean?
thing though is I was with Doddy Weir, who's like
Aye.
a fucking rugby player. He's only like 35 or something, 40, and he's deteriorating pretty fast, and it was pretty humbling to like watch.
Aye.
So
Puts
that-
things into perspective when you see things like that, doesn't it, man? You're moaning about fucking traffic and shit.
Yeah, because we flew back together, just me and him. And I didn't know him before, and obviously he had to rely on me quite a lot through that. And I just felt so, like, obviously he's pure confident and it's like fine, but like for him to have to rely on a wee guy he doesn't know to fucking do his passport thing, it's like, yeah.
Might feel quite, not humiliating, but like a bit.
I just-
don't know.
I don't know. I just it was really like shocking. It was the first time I'd ever like been around someone who was struggling with that.
Aye.
And
It's
he,
like for a guy like that to just swallow his pride and let somebody help him. That's such a good thing as well. You know what I mean? That's
but he was handling it so well, man. I wouldn't have been able to handle that. Just having the best time.
Just
Yeah.
not even thinking about it.
Yeah.
But the worst part is, you know, somewhere he is. Do you know what I mean? But
I
it's
know,
like
yeah,
it's
he was quite yeah, he was emotional at a few points, but like
Mm-hmm.
he was a really good guy, man.
So what you going to say about Hong Kong? I interrupted you.
I had nothing interesting, man.
It was class.
I really didn't like Hong Kong.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was because I was with really rich people that I couldn't afford to hang out with. Like we ended up on this golf course and stuff, and I was just like
you would have probably went and got like tons of street food and tried to be
Yeah.
and
I was in like a really nice hotel in like a really nice area on my own. I was just walking
Cool,
around
yeah.
being like, what?
Poor you.
No, but like.
Amazing hotel.
But usually though, because I travel a lot for work, usually they put you in like the shitest hotel they can, and I kind of honestly like that, like, because you end up in like right in the middle or wherever you are shooting.
Aye,
Kind of thing.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I was when we were in Vietnam, we were going to go on we couldn't decide where to go on holiday between Singapore and Hong Kong, but I think I've been to Singapore once. I liked Singapore, but you been to Singapore?
No.
It's mad.
I'd love to go, man. I would. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not for everyone apparently, but no. Hong Kong is somewhere I did want to go, man, but again
I
it's
found it depressing, but I went weirdly like a month before. You know, those massive protests that lasted so
Oh,
long.
aye,
Still kinda
fuck.
going. I was there like a month before.
Why
So-
think everybody forgot about that?
Why?
COVID.
Man. Whoa.
Oh, aye.
Friday.
Aye.
So it's so I don't know, I think I felt a kind of weight of like exactly what we were saying. People were putting out bad vibes because there was bad vibes right now, you know.
Aye.
Did you feel that? Just
I
not
just felt a
very-
kind of like a sad feeling, a general sadness over everyone. Yeah.
That's weird,
Fuck's
isn't it?
sake.
Wonder what it would feel like going. Oh, you've been to China as well, haven't you?
Aye.
What was that like, man?
I went to Shanghai and it's pretty like Western.
Really?
I liked it because it was my first time like that far out. I'd only been working in the job for like 2 months at the time, so like
filming?
I was like I was genuinely quite scared of going. I used to have this thing where I was like had this really weird food disorder thing, right, that I had to go to therapy for. It's really mad, right, but it always came when I was travelling, and the further away it was, the more scary it was, and I was really quite scared to go to Shanghai because I was like, fuck, I'm not going to be able
Wait,
to eat.
couldn't eat anything?
Really weird, like it would just happen. I would be able to eat, my appetite would go, and then I'd be like, oh fuck, I'm really far away from home and I need to sort this out because I'll die if I don't, like, essentially.
Do you think it was like a thing, like you have that initial thought and then you just get wrapped
It was
up
weird.
in
I
it?
choked really badly as a kid and I stopped eating like normal, and I'd ended up eating really bad my whole life. It's probably why I'm fucking skinny as fuck. So I had this thing and I couldn't fix it, right? So I went to therapy for it, right? It was amazing. Like this woman, I was trying to explain how bad it was because I'd go and like I'd feel like I was going to die, like I wouldn't be able to get on planes and shit. And she was like, and I was like, no, it's really bad. Like I feel like I'm going to die. And she was like, and I was like, what the fuck? Like you're supposed to. This is it's bad. And she was like, but you're not dead. And I was like, aye. She was like, just fucking wait till it's over. And this fucking switch went in my head, and I was like, I can control this now, and this is mad. So I went to China, and I was fucking so scared the whole time on the plane, like shitting myself. But it went all right.
Getting at it. Getting a pot noodle.
See, get a pot noodle. China's main
Famous
dish.
They love pot noodles,
pot
man.
noodle.
Mamma mia, as they
Do you love
say.
pot noodles?
I mean, no, China loves pot noodles.
Oh, do they?
Pot noodles is a Chinese word. Nah, I made that. I'm making all of that up. Yeah.
See, like on China, obviously you're saying you went to Shanghai. What used to happen when we were in Vietnam a lot is like China pay a lot more money than Vietnam, right? So like, say if you have a degree, it doesn't need to be in teaching, right? If you have a degree, and basically if you're white, like, because that's the way they look at it, right? You can go over there and make clear $4,500 a month, easy. Like teaching English for like 8 hours a day. But what people noticed a lot when they were moving from Vietnam to China was like, you're giving up so much like freedom. Like, mate, there's like where I think it's a place called Qingdao, and that's where a guy I knew from New York moved to, and he was like, the money's too good, I need to go out and experience it. And then he went and he was like, mate, he's a YouTuber, he makes videos about being in Vietnam now. He's in fucking Albania or something now. But he was in China, and he's like, there's fucking cameras on every set of traffic lights to like facial recognition and all that, and like majorly like crazy. And he was like, their culture's just so different to ours, like really. But I found that a lot in Asia, like especially in Vietnam as well. Like, you think like living here, there's like one way of living, everybody holds doors open for each other and everybody does this and everybody, you know what I mean? There's a way that we're programmed to like, now that way, like say you go to like London and like you let somebody buy or something, they're not going to be like, oh, thank you. It's like everywhere you go, I've got different things that they accept and things that they find normal. And like when you go to Asia and you move there, it's like, it's fucking insane. Like getting used to that. It's like there's a week. People always say that. Like I was talking to a boy who had been to Vietnam before I had even went at all, and he was like, "Oh, you'll have a week like culture shock, but then you'll be all right." And I was like, all right, mate, like, if you say so, but like, really, see, soon, say, like, the first week you're there, you're like, don't know fucking what you're doing. You probably felt a bit like that in China, like, total culture shock, like, just, everything just feels off. You're like, whoa, what the fuck? Because Asia's just such a different place to here, you know what I mean? It's the total opposite, man.
Everything's different, and even just the feeling, what I said about Hong Kong, the feeling on the street is, like, different. It's not, I don't know, one woman we were with was like, I've seen the police just pick people up on the street here and put them in a van, and you're like, I don't like that. I don't like that that's even a fucking suggestion. Yeah.
That could even
It's crazy as well, see, but you're saying with the police, like in Vietnam, it's like, we've got an idea like law here, right? So like if you go and commit a crime and the police find out, more times than not, they're going to come and maybe fine you or get you jail time or whatever. See there, they used to call police the 500k, because 500,000 Vietnamese dong is about, I'm trying to think, about 15 quid.
Right.
So basically, they call the police the 500k because you can get away with anything as long as you give them 500k.
Right.
mad.
Aye, like literally anything. Like, and there's a seat. So like, there's a mad on all the expat pages and stuff. There's a certain time of the year, right? It's like coming to the end, maybe coming to the end of Lunar New Year, and the police go out and they just pull over just foreigners on bikes, and they're just like, right, where's the money? You know what I mean? Like, or else I'm gonna just jail you.
Imagine
or
offering a policeman here like fucking 15 quid. Mate, I'll give you 15 quid.
Would
like,
Robert
leave.
Burns, three Robert Burnsies, with blue fighters.
I like scrunch it on your hands, like, oh, there you go.
Robert Burns.
Plenty more where that came from. Put
Change that, like tip it in his pocket.
Sorry, that's all I've got, mate.
Another pennies, then picking out the 50p's and that. Putting them out your
Is that a 50p? I'll take that back.
Sorry, that's one of them new ones that's got a wee picture on
It's
it.
got Peter Rabbit on it.
I'll give you one that's not got Peter Rabbit on it.
And a Shakespeare one.
Like, so how mad is it that certain coins are worth like fucking? I thought I had a coin that was like worth like fucking 10 grand or something, mate. And then I searched and it was like that was like the wrong month or something, and it was just like, nah, fuck.
Do you ever look one up and it's like, you look one up and I looked up one and it was, as I say, like a Shakespeare one or just a mad daft design on it, and it was like 73 grand, and it was like, but this one's actually made out of copper by accident. I'm like, well, obviously.
See, now that I'm thinking back to the time in my life that was, I was down bad, I think, because honestly, see when you're looking in your wallet and just Googling, like, how much is this coin worth? It's like, it's worth 50 pence, mate, it's a 50 pence. That's it, mate, that's all you're getting for it.
Real wishful
I'm trying to, like, stretch this money out.
I really hope this 50p is worth those money.
What about when blue fivers came out? The plastic fivers came out, and it was like the AK-47
disaster
number
for
and
cocaine takers.
AA00 number.
Is it?
They were like,
Does it not work?
So I've heard.
no, it's better. The AA00 number, like, if you know what I mean, because it was like the first ever fiver at one point. You know what I mean? Because you can't like trace back like, the blue
I
one.
remember
The Queen gets the first one. The Queen got the first one, I heard.
Right, well, there was something like
She doesn't
001
even need
then.
to spend that.
What? No, like, what? The Queen, has the Queen not got
like
enough,
herself
mate?
on it.
Has the Queen not got enough shit, mate? There's the first fiver.
I mean, the Queen, I'm not trying to turn this into a deep fried man, but nobody's seen her in ages, you know?
Oh,
What's
mate,
up?
she's bolting.
She's
building a new
no,
one,
she's
man.
bolting. She's on there.
I
She's
honestly, I had her building a new one.
Building a new eye. Or just touching the
or they're
touching
making
up
a
the wires.
4D print of her,
That's what I mean. Yeah.
and just.
Aye, she does own everything, but man,
Mate, they could get away with that, I swear, man. Like, they could get away with that. I mean, no that many people actually know the Queen.
No one sees her up
Here,
close,
by the
mate.
way, I've
I've never seen her up close.
Mate, did any ever see the video where driving in a Range Rover and she's coming to the top?
Mate, people edit it and put like fucking.
She crashed into my pal's dad.
Right.
What?
True story, man. She crashed into my pal's dad.
What the Queen?
So my pal is like, his dad went to Johnston, which is like the school that all the princes go to, right? So he knew one of them growing up, and he went up to visit, and she doesn't have a driving license, but she drives about the estate, and she took him off the road.
Fucking hell.
Because she's an old lady who fucking doesn't have a driving license.
Wears sunglasses and listens to Drill full blast.
Imagine that's how the Queen died. She just fucking drove off a road, like Honestly, I mean, that's how I hope it ends. That's how I want to go when I'm 80.
Right off the road.
In a blaze of glory.
I want a Thelma and Louise, man, right off a cliff.
I went to hell, man.
Imagine the fucking press release though, if that is how the Queen died.
They would need to make up something.
How do you make it
um,
sound
They would
nice?
take it to the two.
What
the
age?
two
What
sis-
age is the Queen?
90 something.
98 or something?
No, she's not 90.
No, 99. No, she is, 'cause she has to write herself a letter soon. That's the funny thing.
She's 99.
I'm sure she's
98 or 99.
What are they pumping?
She's 96.
Wow.
95.
She's
95. Oh, but
You are close.
sorry, I was way off.
99.
Aye, but 5 years she needs to do the 100 years on
That's
this.
a long time though for a 95-year-old.
I think she should need to do something, maybe a marathon or something in the
Bungee
100.
jump or something.
A bungee jump.
Aye,
Sponsored by
100%. She needs to do something.
Like she could come on the
Shave her head
podcast.
for charity. I don't know.
What's her name? Elizabeth.
Open invite to the Queen.
Open invite to the Queen of England.
I'm sure she commented on one. I'm sure
She did.
I
watches
love that you said
She
Queen
like-
of England as well.
She
Aye.
Political.
she's a big fan of the deep frieds, I've heard.
Aye.
She's a whole earther.
She makes her own tinfoil hats and sits and watches it. Oh, buzzing.
Look, the Queen must get up to some fucking shit that we don't know about, you know what I mean?
Yeah, she's got plenty of spare time in that, hasn't she?
What would I know? I'd be demented. Do you think you should get herself a wee paper round or something? Maybe that's what she was doing when she crashed. She was doing a paper
making
round.
that Paul Dog money.
Aye, mate. What about him, mate? The oldest paper boy in Britain.
Yeah. Man, Paul Dog said so many nice things about me in this podcast, and it was like I was listening. It was right at the start. He was like,
You must have
saying,
done about him, mate.
I was planning on ruining his career. Like, I was going to fucking go hard, but I seen how nice he was, and I was like, right, fair enough.
Is he nicer than Jamie to you? But
No one's nicer to me than Jamie.
no one's ever been as nice to anybody.
No one's ever treated me like Jamie treats me.
We'll
I
just
love
be,
it.
Got you,
we'll all
bro.
just be talking, and it'll just be like no even like a kind of. It would be like, oh, let's meet up tomorrow and do this, and it'll just be like, Conor, you're so handsome,
Sometimes I look over and he's like that,
as if you know,
just looking at me.
My boy.
you know.
We went to the pub the other day, man. I'd be drinking and look over and he's like that.
Imagine it just
Guys,
started getting a
My
lot
wee
worse.
princess boy. Isn't you?
Princess boy.
My princess boy.
I think it might have been Jamie with the whole
The ball thing. Is it time to talk about the ball thing?
I think there's time for the
mate.
ball.
I was going to say that to you.
We need that.
If
We
it was
need
me.
because me. We can't even show it because I'm not even get the TV and shit. I screen recorded your story, right? The one that they sent the link to the fucking cartoon, like it was
Yeah,
like,
man.
mate,
Should
that
Conor
was bizarre.
Explain the first bit.
So-
and then
Yeah. No, I'm just saying. I just screen it, but I explain what this whole
So-
thing is about.
It all came from there was a ball stuck in a wee bit of the Kelvin where there's a wee waterfall, a weir, and it got stuck in there, and I love that. I have this weird thing about running water, right? So I started visiting the ball every day and being like, yes, it's still there. So I was filming the ball and being like, the ball's still there, and it became like my morning routine. I'd like go to the shop, not the shop, this like cafe, get like a
can of beer.
get a superintendent to just go down and watch it go. So just my morning routine, right? It was in summer as well, so it was always really sunny, and it was just such a nice way to start the day to check on the ball. So anyway, one day I go and the ball was gone, and I was like, right, fuck it. I had to float away eventually, right? This couldn't last forever. And that day I got followed by an Instagram account which was a picture of the guy from Saw that just said ball. And I honestly just shat my pants, didn't reply to it. I was like, fuck that, right? So ignored it for months, and then I went away for my birthday on this like van trip to visit, like it wasn't the tree thing, it was like a different thing. I came back and there was a letter stuffed in my letterbox, no stamp, so it was hand delivered. All the bottles of wine outside my flat were turned upside down. Opened the birthday card and it was a QR code. Scanned the QR code and it was like a fucked up like voice just being like, we stole the ball.
And it was
It said like, Conor Reilly, you've been spreading too much happiness in the world. We stole the beacon of hope, which is the ball. And I was like, I live on my own. I was actually shiting my pants. Like, so I was pure like freaking out. Then just more clues. It just kept going. Like, so I ended up like suspecting my wee brother at a point because I changed played about with the audio and I found out that it was his voice. Then he was like, nah mate, they paid me to say it, because he had screenshots saying they paid me to say it, like this anonymous account. It went on for fucking months, and I found out recently that it was two of my pals, and honestly it wasn't even funny when I found out. I was like, this is actually too much.
it's weird as fuck,
The
man.
videos were all really fucked up, and there was like so many of them that
It's the weirdest part is like the effort.
the effort and the fact that like there was a few times where I was like, it's definitely them, and I looked them in the eye and was like, this is you, and they were like, no, honestly, like, I fucking swear this isn't us. And I was like, right, you're my pals, like, I trust you. And they were like, honestly, this isn't us. Then when I found out, I was like, what the fuck? Like, why the fuck would you do this? So
You've been spreading too much happiness in the world.
And there was like really fucked up like war footage and stuff, and
No,
like
mate, see the weirdest bit is see the bit that's like a mad old cartoon and it's in Spanish, but then it's coming up subtitles and it's like, what will he do and all that. And it's like, we stole the ball,
and, then, like, and it's laughing and like it goes all dark and shit.
So strange, mate.
Again, I live on my own. I'm sitting in a flat on my own watching that like somebody wants to fucking murder me, and I've wronged a lot of people in my life through my documentary career. Like, there's a few people that don't like me, and I'm like, mate, there's one flat earther that genuinely wants to kill me. I like, not really. I mean, he's like,
is it because you killed that guy that went into space?
He like fucking, there's a guy, I seen him at a 5G protest when I was filming, but I had a mask on, and I was like,
course
fuck
you did.
I fucking left, like, because he's like, you know, remember that video of the guy being like to Lee Griffiths coming out of Parkhead?
Aye.
Have you heard the Bendy Wire? That guy, that
no.
guy hates me, man.
Is it
that
him?
guy?
He hates me.
Fuck, because you're like kind of no.
Well, I made the film, and I filmed with him, but he wouldn't sign the form, so I never put him in the film. And I think he thinks I'm actually part of some sort of BBC conspiracy fucking cover up thing.
Oh, for fuck's
Like, honestly, and I got a few emails after asking me about how I was in the Illuminati and shit, and I was like, one guy I planned to go for a pint with him. I was like, let's go for a pint, we'll talk about this. And I ended up having to go away for a month, not a month, a week. So I didn't reply to him for 2 days, and then he messaged me again. Oh, I fucking knew you're part of the Illuminati. You're just ignoring me and all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to meet that guy.
But you're just like a
You're a Mason though. And Masons are Illuminati.
Potential Mason.
All wealth.
I mean, I'm the only guy that's turned the Masons down twice. You know what I mean? What a big shot.
No, you said yes the first time.
Oh no, I said maybe.
And then you have
Then I said to my dad, and he was like, "Don't be a fucking Mason." Dad, can I be a Mason, please? Dad. No, Dad, please, won't be a Mason.
Being a Mason's no just for Christmas, son.
Mate, that's the thing as well. Like, you do actually.
Did you go get a trial with them or something?
Let's
See how
see.
you
When
like
I said to the guy, I was like,
3-month free trial.
he said all the good things about being a Mason, and then I was like, but honestly, I'm quite nosy by my nature and my job. Like, what if I actually tell anyone about? And he got really serious and was like, "You cannot tell anyone what happens in there." And then I was like, "Nah, that's too boring for me."
Mate, I got nearly recruited by Scientologists in America. I mean, Joseph.
It's dodgy, by the way.
We were in Florida and they did the mad enneagram test or whatever it's called. You know, the thing, it's like you hold on to 2 bits of metal and then it goes, and it's like, think about stuff that stresses you out and that. And I was like, nothing does, mate, I'm sound. And he's like, no, something does. I'm like, mate, I'm fine. So I was just saying that because they pinpoint things that rang with your life and then say that will change if you, whatever. And I was just going, no, mate, I fucking love my life. Not saying mad shit like that. And he was like, right, well, must not be working on you then. Pure give it to Joseph. They just get fed up on me. Like,
Joseph just like, there's so much.
Joseph's like, him. He's like, we'll take care of him. Don't worry.
Joseph is definitely going to murder Jamie one day, I think.
It's going to happen.
Joseph's got to be on camera soon.
Man, that's going to be so good for the
Your
the
documentary.
podcast. Honestly, man, imagine the viewers you'll get if he murders you.
Would you still have him on it? Like the next week and
he
that?
would be hosting, bro.
Mate, he'd be the draw.
You'd be the co-host.
Are you kidding not? I would be fucking. I would just be sitting like, hi Joseph. He's like, today we're going to be today we're going to be talking about me
Strangling people.
strangling people to death. And I'll be
There's
like,
a mad metal band where the drummer killed the bassist or something, and they had to get a new drummer and bassist.
Mate. No, mate, did you hear about the man metal band that the guy's drummer or something was claustrophobic and he had him in a box and recorded the sounds he was making and put it on a mad song?
That's fucked.
It's the most fucked thing ever.
pretty. Do you know? Like, it just sort of reminds me of that. Like, I don't know how I ended up doing this sort of rabbit hole about horror movies, right? And like, see, back in the day when they used to, like, there was like a period when they made movies and shit, and it was like, say, like, they actually had like mad animal sacrifices and on shit like that on. Now you would see that in something and you'd be like, oh, it's like fucking CGI, or they've done this, or they've done. Like, those movies that got caught way back in the day, that they just done that shit in the movie and it's real. Man. You can't, like, I don't think you can watch them now, but it's mad, like, sadistic. See, like, the most see if you Google, like, the most fucked up movies ever or something, right? It's like certain ones for like the 50s and that like after it got released, people investigated it and they found that they'd actually been doing stuff, or like they'd actually been like, say a girl gets no murdered in it, but say they get fucking stabbed or something in it, like they were actually doing all this shit.
No way.
It's like
smut porn.
aye, it's
Snuff.
No porn.
Snuff
It's
films.
films.
Snuff.
They did it in my drama in school.
Aye. What
We
porn?
used them smut porn.
What was it? The play called in my school.
It's mad. There was an old Disney like animal program where they just fucking.
Have you ever thought about doing anything like that?
Any snuff films, mate? I'll do anything for a price. You know what I mean?
Do you see you were talking about, I just want to ask, right, and obviously you don't need to shit on anyone if you don't want to, but I was wondering, like, obviously you met Billy Connolly, fucking loved him, everything he turned out to be. You ever film with somebody famous and been like, what a wanker?
I've got a couple, man. But the problem is, one guy who was really rude to me when I was a runner, right? So I was like really young at the time. Is now working with my pal.
Oh.
He's like supporting him, and I was like honestly, if that wasn't happening, I would have told you right off the bat, this guy's a fucking bellend.
Aye.
Because I know this guy and he's supporting him. I don't want to be like.
Stick him in.
I'll tell you after though. Prick.
Aye.
Prick.
Mate, I've just remembered something, another bit of insider info for a friend of the show, Paul Dock. You go to Paris Fashion Week or something every year and like film with models and hang about with them for weeks and
I
shit.
did a film. Yeah.
What rock star?
I did a film for BBC Scotland about Model Team, which is like a model agency. So I did Paris Fashion Week twice, New York Fashion Week, and like this mad thing in Copenhagen, like all these fucking mad fashion shows and shoots and stuff. And it's really weird because like, see, remember we were talking about people being the same height earlier on, and it'd be so weird if you see loads of people who are the same height. You go to a model casting and you'll see genuinely 35 girls who are all exactly 5'11", and they're all unbelievably beautiful and strange looking in different ways. It's like you're in a factory full of robots, man. It's like it doesn't look right. It's just not. It's just so weird.
But that's meant to look like the most right thing that could
And
be.
even weirder, it's like the most beautiful person you've ever seen, and they're like, nah. Nah. Like, it's unbelievable.
That's what I done for this podcast, mate. Co-host were coming in. I was like, no. Next.
Nah,
Nah.
I want.
Come in like that, pure.
Turn round. Nah.
Fucking hell.
Sit down. Do a press up. Nah.
This was all me, all the nuts for me.
It's
only
him
him
in
that came for
different
the
outfits. him in different disguises.
He's just still saying nah.
Everything he done, I was like, nah. And then eventually I was like, you're still here, mate. Fair play. Just sit there. That's how it does.
It's wild.
But if you get anything else coming up, anything else in the pipeline, as they say?
I don't know, man. I'm shooting this thing about stock car racers now, man. But it's not that. It's good, man. It's good fun. But it's like I'll shoot anything, man. I'm in a weird transitional period in my career where I'm like, I've got loads of like shit I want to make that I know the BBC Scotland won't let me make, and I'm now trying to work out how to do that, because it's so hard to like make stuff yourself for no money.
Because I mean, like, obviously we can do the high rise, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like fucking zero budget. It's like getting there and back. But like, if you get an idea, you want to go to this place and document this, it's like you need funding, man.
It's hard, man. It's hard. It's just, yeah, it's difficult. But I don't know. I've started shooting something on my own now, and it's pretty fucking weird. And hopefully that will then turn into the thing that I want it to be. But
Nice one, mate.
it's hard, man.
Where
Yeah.
can people find like everything you do?
I don't know. Like,
It's a bit all over the place, isn't
This is
it?
the
I don't
problem.
know.
This is the problem with the shooting stuff for the BBC, is that they put it up and then they take it down, and then like I feel a wee bit like stupid for not getting on the internet quicker. But the problem is,
What, like on your own sort of thing?
yeah, or just I don't know, because like Twitter and TikTok and all that shit, I just don't understand it, so I've never really done it. And then even though like I do like weird stuff on my story, and then it just goes away, you know. So I've never really put any effort into like actually.
You've got a website, you know?
I've got a website, but that's just for camera jobs, you know. Like just if
Right.
someone says, like, what's your rate, and can I see your work, and then I just send that over, you know.
Well, the thing that I watched was on BBC Three, so obviously that's like now an app. It's actually coming back out.
Aye,
But
Pick and mix.
Pick and Mix.
Pick and Mix will be the new thing.
Yeah,
so
the
that's what
YouTube
I'm
channel.
connecting stuff like that. I've got a couple of things coming out in Channel 4 now, but they're not really things that were mine, you know. Someone will phone you up and say,
Yeah, I've got this coming out.
well, like, but it's not like you didn't create it, you know. They were like, we want you to make this thing, and you just show up and you shoot it and you edit it, and then it's like kind of bread and butter like
Aye, just your
stuff, you know.
following the kind of.
Yeah.
as long as you're having fun, brother.
Yeah,
As
so
we
good.
say, put positive vibes out there, you get
That's it,
positive
mate.
things back. So
That's good, yeah.
Beautiful stuff.
the
Thank you.
lesson?
That's it. That's
Is
the
that-
lesson of the
let's
whole
wrap it
podcast. Yeah.
Sorry, it was a wrap-up voice. I didn't know if you were like...
That is my that's my wrap-up voice. I go like this. Is that it? Kind of just lower my voice. Do you want to talk about anything else?
I don't know, man. I'm trying to think. I feel like we...
What I will say is, Jamie, and I don't want to be very controversial in this, the bloopers for the high rise, I didn't see us in it very
Right.
often.
It was all essentially it was all Sean, and it was quite difficult to find anything of anyone else. I got you smiling pretty much after the take was over.
See when I seen that, I was like, I'll give that as a blooper. I was happy to be in it at some point, to be fair.
I was in the background of that blooper, so I got in it.
You're laughing at us making all mistakes. Mate, the loopy scooper thing.
So funny.
Mate, what I meant to ask you, right, just before we end it, right, I was wondering this, because, like, we turn up at things, right, like the fly thing, we done that thing as well, and it's like, we just do it, like, literally you'll be like, right, go, and then we just do it, and it's like, I was wondering how that is compared to, you've obviously shot stuff with, like, actual actors and stuff like that, surely, so, like, is it comparable, but, like...
Honestly, actors are a wee bit more difficult, just because they're way more, like, particular about getting it right. I sometimes think it's an issue, because sometimes no acting's better. For example, and this is not like I'm not shitting on you in any way, right? Because if you just started acting, you don't really act a line, you just say it, which is how normal people talk. So if you just say, and Ben, I notice Ben does it too, which I quite like, he'll just say a line and play it down so low that it's not acting.
It's not performing.
And even if you go maybe 2 under, it's way better than being 2 over. And I much prefer, like, working with people who aren't actors, who aren't going to, like, perform the line. Because it's not, especially with a mockumentary, you can't
the more real the better, man. The more real the better, I think. People have said to me, like, sort of in a nice way, like, here, how can you all do that? Like, how can you like, people but I think Reese was a bit like that, but then I mean, I don't want to bust a gig for everybody, but I don't think it's as hard as...
Honestly though, I was very impressed with you specifically, like, genuinely, because I'd never watched I'd never seen you do much other than the wee videos. You came in so confidently, and then you had the first thing to do before Paul and Sean and everyone, so I don't know, you just fucking slipped into the character immediately. When the camera was on, you were that guy entirely, and you didn't need any kind of, like, pushing or prodding. And
I think I might be a compulsive liar, mate.
I think mad. And when you fucked the line, you're like, cool, right, one more, and then you just, like, did it, and it was just so fucking easy.
That's why I was wondering, because it's like, I feel like when we go, there's pure nae hassle, but I'm like, I feel like I've not been on a set where, like, people said actual acting it, but I feel like people would mess it up. No, mess it up quite a lot, but they'd be like, oh, no.
There's less pressure with just one guy. That's why I like shooting at just me.
Suppose it feels so like, because that was the difference between that and, like, the thing we done for Fly. It was like there was like a full crew there essentially. So it felt like you. Whereas, like, I was just talking to you almost.
This is embarrassing though, right? Genuinely, I was quite excited to meet Evan because I hadn't met you before. Loved that video you'd done. I just heard a lot about you, and when you arrived, you were like beating the horn, and I was like, aye, he's the same guy. I love it. He is the guy. It's not like a character.
Did you just meet him at that high rise thing for the first time?
First time.
That was definitely the first time.
We knew each other, but, like, we hadn't met in person. But it's funny, man. I know I rocked up late, mate.
But it was great. You just, like breezed in, just being like I wanted you to be. You were like Billy. You were my Billy Connolly.
I was like the Billy Connolly.
Yeah. So you're saying meet your heroes as well,
mate. I've met 3 of my heroes, and they've all been fucking exactly what I wanted them to be. Like, genuinely, like, people that I never thought I'd meet in my life, and they were all really great.
Me, Evan and Billy Connolly.
That's the ones.
That's it, man.
That's the ones.
What a beautiful way to end it, guys. Connor, thank you so much for coming.
Honestly, thank you for having me. This has been a pleasure.
Oh, it's been brilliant, mate.
Big fan of the show.
Big fan of the show.
Dream come true. Honestly, this or meeting Billy Connolly.
How could I separate the 2 greatest things that have ever happened to me?
True. We'll let you away with it.
Right, cheers, mate.
Thank you so much.